the story that we have so far. If you want the details on this, you just watch the previous videos. So you decided that you don't want to go back to the farms in the north, which was your original destination before you got kidnapped, because you know those farms are being attacked by goblins, they're being destroyed by goblins. Goblin raids are happening more and more in those farms. And you think that you figured out where those goblins are coming from. You found here in the Caves of Chaos, where you're brought when you got kidnapped, that the goblins are coming from here, the Caves of Chaos. They seem to live in caves across the way from the cave that you're in, and they all get into lines and they march north, and they're talking about, take the machines, with banners and things. They come back with a bunch of machines that they dump at the Kobold Cave, the cave of the kobolds that kidnapped you. While you're still shackled and things, you saw goblins just dumping machines, and a kobold sort of keeping track of something on a ledger of some sort of recording, or scribing it down somehow. So it seems some sort of accounting was being done. And money was changing hands. The goblins were apparently getting paid. That's gotten your curiosity up. So after you finished off the red dungeon that was underneath the jail that you broke out of, you've now turned around and decided to look at the other thing of interest while still staying safely in this cave, which are the kobolds. The kobolds you put to sleep. Didn't kill very many, as I recall. You escaped without. No, you did. Yeah, you guys killed a lot of them. Did you?
We killed all of them.
We did.
You killed all of them.
killed all of them?
Yeah. Yeah, so in the jail, you guys killed a lot of kobolds, so that might make the diplomacy a little bit more difficult. Murr here is from a parallel universe in which he's actually talked to the kobolds before.
We even killed the little ones running away.
Yes.
You guys are horrible. Why?
Oh, yes.
We are warriors. We take
So-
care of prisoners.
But last time you looked, these kobolds they know something about shards. One of the chaos shards that you found was right near the kobold area. You saw a weird silver crack in the wall that seemed to have another chaos shard over it. You see that there's a winged kobold that had burned eyes. And he seems to be in charge of this machine room. So if you want to know more about what chaos shards are capable of and what's up with these burned eyes, or the orrery, which is that big bronze set of hoops and spheres that was the subject of the torture that you were all about to undergo, the kobolds really want to find out who here owns the orrery. None of you own the orrery. You think it was owned by somebody else who might have died, or somebody who's still kind of semi-conscious in the cell or whatever else.
So all the other prisoners that you rescued, all that, because we broke out and all the other prisoners.
Yeah, you broke out, but you
they
did
stopped
lose some
saying-
people on the way. It could be the owner got killed when the carriage got overtaken by the kobold. That might have been one of the victims, because some had gotten killed, and that's when their head kobold said, "Stop killing them. Let's take them prisoner," because one of them probably owns this thing. So the orrery and all of you got down there, and the torture was trying to find out who owns the orrery, how does it work. So the kobolds are very interested in that. For all these reasons, you've decided, well, let's check out what the kobolds are up to. You'd already crept down to see these things, but now you're able to go down, in your own right. So you may get a clue about why the raids are happening if you know, why are the kobolds using these machines? So what are they using the machines for? Because this is obviously motivating the goblins. They're getting machines, getting paid, so okay, now you're sort of tracing where the influence comes from. All right, that is the story so far. Now we're officially starting. This table's still a little on the large side. Moon is on Wednesdays a little bit on the small side. We'll probably wait a couple sessions before I really start leaning on this, but if anybody says hey, Wednesday is just as good as Thursday or is more convenient, I am going to start asking people to really figure out a way to get some people to cross over, because then we'll have two tables about the same size, and it's just everybody will learn more if they're at a slightly smaller table. But I don't want to lose anybody, so only do it if you feel like you still enjoy yourself and still come. But we'll go into that later. Announcements. We have an inter-shard meetup, so I like to throw these pub meetups pretty often. This is where, it's called the Magical Mystery Tour. It's where you plumb the mysteries of the world, but with other people who've played in other shards. So this Caves of Chaos, Courage and Chaos system has been played for nearly 10 years. And there's people who have been all over this world and have gone through all the stuff that you've gone through, but you have seen things that nobody else has seen. Those investigations that you do uncover things that are quite unknown. If you rolled really well and had some clever questions, you might know things that nobody else at the pub will know. So if you show up, then the people from George's old shard, the Moon shard on Wednesday, they show up, so you'll be able to cross. They investigated a whole different set of things. They just did it last night. Also, people who came from last year, so they're in season 2. They've been all around the world around. I really encourage spoilers. It's really fun for people to exchange information. I actually have an in-game explanation for why you know what's happening in these parallel worlds. There's no guarantee that your world is exactly like their world. You know, the world's always changing and editing, and your choices change it, and I, of course, as a creator, am modifying it a bit. But, you know, you can get some pretty interesting information by talking to people who've been in other parallel versions of this world. And knowledge is power. So if you look at that event is on Meetup. It is Sunday the 18th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Maybe 2 to 5, but you don't have to show up exactly on time. Don't worry if you're a bit late. Rock up, meet people at the Green Beacon Pub in Tenerife. And for all you in Streamland, that's because we have been very good with COVID. We don't have a COVID problem here in Brisbane. We don't even have to wear masks now. We last time you saw with masks, now the health directive has been like, we don't need to wear masks anymore. And we can go to the pub as long as we don't end up licking each other's glasses, I think is probably the thing the health directive says. Do not lick each other's mugs. But again, it's on Meetup. Please do RSVP to that because if anything changes, I'll announce it there through there. So you get automatic notifications if you RSVP on Meetup, and it encourages other people to go. All right, setting the scene. So last we saw, you had just finished a bunch of interesting investigations in the Red Dungeon. You came up through the trap door. You had some tussles with the imps in the ice dome. You know, they attacked you as you investigated things. You went up to the cold room that had the initiation, the needles and all that stuff, and the chains. You talked to Torg and figured out some things about what is keeping Torg here. Another mystery you dug into. Then you went up from there. You know, Torg let you through, can operate the trap door. So he still seems to have the ability to open and close and lock that trap door. You haven't figured out how to go up and down on your own. So Torg is still an important gatekeeper in that sense. You end up in the Kobold jail. You know that if you go down from the Kobold jail, you'll go to the machine room of the Kobolds. You'd already spied down that way. However, this room is pretty much as you left it. Bodies and all. Let's say that as you were down there, the bodies have been dragged away. So you can see that the kobolds maybe have retrieved their dead, so the corpses, but there's still like blood smears. It's not like it's cleaned up. It's just that the bodies have been moved out of the way. Yes,
blood
yeah,
stains,
blood smears, yeah, exactly,
Stains and, like, handprints on the walls.
When you crossed over from one world to the parallel world, yeah, you came into this jail, it was like, oh my god, what's all this blood here? We didn't create all this blood. That was one of the first things you know, like, I think I'm in a different place than I was before.
Guys are savages. The poor kobolds.
So I'm going to talk about what each character is up to. So let's kind of review. We have, just spoken of, Myrrh the Unthinkable. He is a high elf wizard, level 2. Is there something different about Myrrh that we would notice for the first time that you want to give us a mental picture of his state?
He's got like his beard. Like Myrrh is not a young elf. Is well in elf terms, yeah, he's still fairly young, but he's older than most.
Okay.
But his beard is just like, it seems like it's frosted with ice.
Oh, he's getting chillier. Okay, great.
And he's also got his familiar Toto, the celestial owl.
Nice.
Does that sit on his shoulder or
Yes.
you guys?
Awesome. Okay, good. I got a good picture from that. All right. We have Gale, Galarian. He is a half-elf druid, level 2. Is there anything different about Gale that we're noticing for the first time?
So he's looking like he's a little bit. So he's leaning on his staff. He's a little bit impatient was a bit impatient to get Torg to sort out the door, to let him out. He's looking like he's out of place inside.
Ah, okay. Oh, right. You've been underground. That's
a little bit pensive now.
Yeah,
He's
the
been
druid.
underground
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. Being underground must make you uncomfortable. I like that. That'll give me a good picture. Right on. We also have Dell. She is a high sun elf, wizard, level 2. Is there something that we notice about Dell for the first time?
I was hoping to get here early and talk to you about this, but I didn't, so hopefully this is okay. Correct me if I'm not. You've noticed that Dell is a bit secretive about quite a few things, and so when everybody was dipping their things in the molten iron, Dell understood that it was probably socially unacceptable, but just kind of quietly dipped what's his name, Eber's arm in the iron and stashed it in her bag.
Oh, that's awesome.
Kind of trying to keep it on the down low.
And it maybe
Because
stops
she
it from smelling
realises
so
that that's
bad.
not really.
I'm just
a
trying to
little
think what
dark.
that actually is.
So it's
You-
seven arm kind of vibe. Well, it won't rot that way.
Exactly, yeah, it's not so
Or it'll
smelly.
eventually rot, but like it'll be like
It'll
a
still
night in
have
the
a
shell.
shell.
or something.
It'll be like liquid inside. It'll look
Why?
like a candy shell around the rotting arm.
When are you gonna drop it so you crack open like an egg?
Yes, that is okay. Thank you
I
for that
thought I was
detail.
the only crazy character.
Great. No, thank you for that detail.
Crazy
I like
wizard
that.
is here.
You may be in the right group then.
All
You
right.
thought we're just goblins. Why do you think any of us were sane?
Archie is here. He is a human fighter level 2. Is there something special about Archie that we noticed the first time?
Well, a little bit similar to the druid. Archie's feeling constrained underground. Yeah, he really grew up out in the countryside, grew up in the fields, had a vision of going to the new farms, making a life there, and he's ended up under the ground, in caves and
Into hell. I
and
mean,
dungeons
like
and
this is
so
not
on.
what you planned.
It's okay with that, but it's kind of like, no, I want to get back out there now, and I'm really keen to investigate these goblins because I feel like they're...
Yeah. And
So
the last time
that's-
you had quite a close debate. It was like a 4 to 5 split on
So,
whether to go outside and see the goblins right away, which is still
So
ahead. So
keen
you're looking
to-
forward to doing
keen
that.
to
Okay.
move through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. All right. We have Darrican. He is a halfling rogue level 2. What's special about Darrican right now?
Currently, when he figured out the story of Torg and Evo, but their backstory being related to his whole Banfield clan and
Yes, I know
Tower,
that,
he found that quite interesting. He's quite happy with his haul at the moment, with his like little chicken ornament,
Yes.
a few little gold pieces. I would certainly say that with him like being grown up in the forest and all that, he obviously prefers the outdoors. So the underground mines isn't that great, but he's actually kind of keen to continue going because he sees this as more reward.
Good. Yes, the treasure seems to lit you up a little bit there. Yeah, handling your very nice artwork a little bit there. Awesome. May is here. She is a human. She is a human fighter level 2. And what's different about May that we might notice for the first time?
Well, I was starting to see her in the light, just starting to notice that, unlike beforehand when you saw her up here, she's not having all these bulges in her clothing because, like she said, she's stuffing and sewing coins and gems in like the hems of her clothing.
Oh,
And she was doing it on the way while walking, just kind of.
Yeah.
So she was trailing at the back somehow and steal and just take her shirt in the middle of the night or like her jacket or
Oh,
I
cool.
think she's still in there. So.
Yes, I think you mentioned you like to have
Yeah.
gems because you want to be able to run, you want to be able to keep them on you. You
And
seem to have a bit of a
worth it.
you seem to have quite a survival mentality.
So, she's
May
kind of
does.
looking a bit bulky now, a bit
Yeah.
misshapen a little. And
You're sort of clinking around a
and
little bit.
because no one actually saw her do it, they were all just kind of going, okay, that's different. Alrighty.
All right, that's great. I think we've covered everybody else. Now, anybody who was here last session that isn't here, just imagine they're kind of in the background when fighting breaks out, if it does. They had a little fight of their own. They're getting a little injured. They're using spells. So, you don't have to have a whole story reason why people are on or off stage. The way I do D&D, and I encourage DMs to do this in general. That it's really important to always have regular sessions. So I always hold the session, and if half the people don't show up, I just make the session work. I don't punish them for not showing up. They don't get XP, because now you're actually accruing XP. So people who don't show up will level a little bit slower, and that's okay. We can handle that. But they don't get cut out of the story. We don't have to worry about that. Just imagine they're kind of in the background, but you can't really use them for anything. There's kind of imagine they've gotten kind of in a non-heroic mode. They've gotten a bit scared and become very conservative and maybe a bit sick. They're not their full effective selves. So you are the heroes in the foreground as you are standing in this kobold jail, wondering what to do. Well, one of the first things you want to do is the tactic of whether you want to rest or not, and take a long rest. It's always good before you rest to think, well, what's the time pressure? You almost always have time to do a short rest, unless there's something really breathing down your neck, and you don't think there's an impending attack. So certainly a short rest seems quite safe to do. And you're alert during a short rest. Long rest, you have to take off your armor if you want to get the full benefit. Actually, level 1, that's not so important, but you're asleep, you can be snuck up on, but you get all of your hit points back. You get a hit die back, so one of your hit dice comes back when you do a long rest. You also get all of your spell slots back and other things reset, and all the other benefits of a short rest. You're about to go into an area where, in slightly meta terms, because I'm kind of teaching about play of D&D, that these things often go like little arcs, and a good pace the basic unit of adventure in D&D is the day, and you usually have a few encounters during the day before you really get to have a long rest. There's usually a reason why you can't have a fight, long rest. Next day, have another little fight, long rest. You're not progressing very fast. There's usually something impelling you, and also think of your adventurous spirit. Just doesn't let you be that lazy. But you are a little banged up. You might have had a chance, and you feel like it's good to do a long rest before going into a dangerous area. You can decide for yourselves. Generally, if only 1 or 2 people really need a long rest, you should all take a long rest. So debate amongst yourselves whether that's the case. The only urgency that you have on top of that is those farms. The farms are being raided. Every day that you stay here without cutting off the problem is more people being killed, more machines being stolen. Maybe that motivates you. So, in character or out of character, just discuss whether you think you should have a long rest right now.
I believe since we've leveled out, we've only taken like a little bit of damage.
I'm full.
Like from
I'm full.
I've only got 9. I've got 19 out of 20, so I'm fine.
yeah, like
What about like spell slots and things like that?
I've only used 1.
I've used 1, and with a short rest, I can use my arcane recovery.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Can druids do this? Do druids have that ability?
They don't. No, arcane recovery is a strength one. Is that way.
Because you guys only do
Not very well.
have 2 spell slots per long, 3
Yes.
long.
Yeah, 2 at level 1 and then 3 at level 2. Okay. Sounds like a short rest, though. The people should have a short rest because you're going to do that. Sound right? Anybody super object to a short rest? Okay. So, short rest you do. As you do, so first mechanically, remember what you do here. You can spend a hit die now, or you can save it for later. When you spend a hit die, remember to add your Constitution bonus. So you get to roll whatever your D size is. It might be a D8 or a D10 or a D6. When you roll it, you add your Constitution bonus. That's how many hit points you get back. I think everybody's nearly at full, but if you're down by 1, yeah.
I'm down by 6.
Okay, it's wise
What
to
did
use
you
that.
get hit by?
Few things.
Right on. So feel free to do that. You're just on your own honor. I don't have to witness it. Just as convenient. Go
Which
and roll
one's
that for
the
yourself.
So what do I do?
That's the D10.
So
with
you
the-
is the weird spiral.
Right,
Yeah.
we did.
Now, one interesting thing is that if you're about to take short, have you done and this goes for both warriors, have you done your second wind yet? So a great thing for warriors, you don't have to spend hit dice unnecessarily. You can just do your second wind at any time. So, fire up! You go ahead and toughen yourself up. You get to roll your hit points, as second wind says. It's like D10 plus 1, I believe, or plus 2 because you're level 2. So you get to roll that, and then your short rest resets your second wind, so you're just as good as you ever were. So if you're a fighter, you haven't used your second wind, and you're down by a few points, I suggest you use it because you're just about to get it back.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like I missed
Okay,
something.
so that's-
Didn't we just heal up with our level up?
Well, no, you were level 2 before you did the investigation, and the course investigation, remember, you had the icicles and the imps, so the imp attack happened since then. And that's why some people are down a little bit, and some people
Yeah.
cast spells to survive that imp attack better.
I think the only people that were actually kind of worse injured were the ones that aren't here.
So, do you want to? So, feel free
Yeah.
to roll a D10. Second wind, I believe, is a D10 plus your fighter level.
Or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, plus 2 HP. So, I suggest doing
I'm
that.
only down 1 hit
What's
point,
the
so
purpose of doing
Or
a second
it'll
wind?
work.
It's like
There's
now.
no point rolling.
Yeah.
Well,
just
you're about to
say
get
it
it back,
to
so
me.
it's just a great way to. It's basically free hit points right now.
Oh.
So you can do it. It's typical to do it during a fight, like in the middle of a fight, like the cleric's not helping me. Give yourself the second wind. But you can do it between fights, and it's just basically a
I'm
nice.
hit points missing though.
Oh, I thought you were. I'm sorry.
No,
Well, I'm
no,
explaining.
that's him, yeah.
That was you. Okay, so I was
I've
like,
only got 1.
you seem so interested.
So-
Or
Well,
somebody.
you
I
still
misread
might as
it.
well
I'll
use it.
use my short wind to get my 1 hit point.
Yeah, hey, every hit point. It could be the hit point that saves you. All
How
right.
long is a short rest?
An hour.
It's an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you say it's the hit dice plus Constitution?
That's right. Yep. So you roll your hit die and you add your Constitution, and you can roll as many hit dice as you want, as many as you have. Just remember,
Yeah.
remember you're subtracting your hit dice each time.
I have one question as well.
Yeah.
I've got on D&D Beyond an ability called Natural Recovery, which says once per long rest during a short rest, you choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slot can have a combined level up to 1, and none of the spells can be 6 level or higher. So
Oh, that's great. That's very
you
much like Arcane
actually-
Recovery.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
So
take
I'll
advantage of that. And
do
your
that.
Arcane Recovery kicks in as
Yeah.
well.
Natural
Okay.
recovery.
Good. Other powers recharge. Any other questions about short rest before we move on? Okay. So, in this jail, the most obvious way to go is down that corridor. And you're discussing pretty openly what you're doing. You debated for a while whether to check out the goblins or check out the kobolds. And as you're discussing that, something happens. So get stuck in here.
Oh,
Torque, overhears you talking about this. Torg gets more angry than you've ever seen him before. Before he's quite proud, and he seemed quite proud of you when you came up. Then he was very sad. But he seems to kind of like go back to his default pretty easily. Once he was up in this room, instead of crying at the corpse of Eberk, he's again sort of marching around, and he even saying the same thing like, follow orders, following orders. So he's just kind of in a bit of a loop. When he overhears that, you hear him say, in his characteristic voice, kobolds, bad. Kobolds ripen chaos shards. Shards glowing. Shards bad. Glowing shards bad. And he holds out his hand and faces you all, and he grips his ghostly axe. He says, give shards here, or we fight. You don't know if he's like about to attack you, but you know he's really mad. And of course, you know, there's a lot of you, and you're not sure how tough he is. He just seems really upset. And, you know, this is D&D. You can choose to give him all of your chaos shards.
Not
He seems
the point that he attacked us when this happened.
That's right. So yeah, Myrrh,
This is not the point.
Myrrh the
where-
world jumper, has been like, deja vu. I've done this before. It's like, yeah, last
This
time.
is-
Okay, yeah.
This is not the point where.
So he does attack us.
Yes.
I wonder if we left
we
the room,
don't.
is he locked to this room? Like, could we, if we just took off in
Or
the
just
corridor,
bolt
would he
He's not locked to that
keep
room.
following
Okay,
us?
now-
So he followed us down, remember?
But
Does-
can he,
Come into where the kobolds are.
Okay, so Myrrh
Okay.
tells you.
When-
What? How you know this?
I'm smart.
I do remember in our first session you mentioned ghosts were quite powerful.
Yes, so okay, good. That's right. So very good for remembering that. Yeah, you remembered some sort of thing, but ghosts are a problem.
So does he only want the glowing chaos shards or all of
He wants
them?
all chaos shards. Now they knows you're going to visit the chaos, the kobolds. He wants all of your chaos shards.
Including the one hanging around
Can we
your
ask
neck?
him
I
why he
ain't
wants
giving
them?
him. No.
Yeah, and he points to that because especially with his glowing, your shard isn't glowing yet, but it's on a necklace. He seems especially mad about the one around the necklace.
Can we ask him why? Is it a little bit dangerous for us to carry them near the goblins or near whatever he's working
Bad. He just repeats the same thing. Glowing kobolds ripen shards.
Yeah.
Glowing shards bad. He basically just keeps and he's just shaking with anger.
I'll give him.
But the
a
more that he
shot.
does that, you get the sense that he's just trying to convince you and order you not to. You don't think you're in imminent danger, especially based on what Myrrh said. But yeah, his mood is permanently changed until they say otherwise. And now he looks furious with you.
I am giving him my shot. I just.
All right. Okay.
No, I'm keeping mine.
I'm giving mine.
I'm going to hang on to mine. I mean, if we're going to go and talk to these kobolds or do whatever,
Let's
having
pretend
it might be
that's not
useful, a bargaining chip.
If Matthew starts rolling, I'd be worried.
Oh no.
All right.
All the
Okay.
I'm going to
So
tell him why
yes,
we
he
watch
he
out.
now he can turn solid at will. So he turns solid, and he goes over to the trap door, and he quickly opens the trap door. He throws the shard down there, and he locks up the trap door. So with yours, but he's still like, your shard. But you're like, nah, we're not going to. And he's getting increasingly he's just stuck in this loop, you know, where he just keeps repeating the same thing. You're like,
Yeah,
okay,
hash
we're
out.
moving on now.
We don't have any shards. I don't know what you're talking about.
He knows that. He knows that. My shard's hanging off my neck. He can
mine's,
see my
mine's
shard.
in my jacket.
Alrighty. So on the video, we can get the next slides. We're on to the next section. All right. This is mechanically, again, for those of you watching and for those of you playing, because I really like to model things. So I ultimately want to aspire to be DMs. I really want to show it's quite easy to DM. You know, when you try to take a certain approach, you're dealing with new players, and we are collaborative and all that stuff. This uses a formula I call the role play battle, the RP battle, and it's a way to resolve things without it necessarily being violent. So you'll often have the option when you come across an enemy and say, oh, we actually want to convince this enemy to be on side or co-opt the enemy in some way. You don't have to kill everything. There's enough sort of kill opportunities in D&D that it's nice to have some variety. So that's what this section is. This whole thing is patreon.com. If you're on Patreon because you're donating that way instead of here, or if you're on the stream and you at patreon.com, I'll eventually be releasing these materials, and I'll give you a template that you can use for your own RP battles. How do you structure this sort of thing? It's a little mechanic that I kind of made up, inspired by some other D&D ideas. So that's what those codes are. Once you get the materials, you look for those hashtag codes, you can find these things. All right. So you are heading down the tunnel towards the Kobold Lair. And you can hear a quite loud argument echoing down the tunnel as you get close. You know that up ahead is this portcullis. This is the one that you're blindfolded and then you spied through this portcullis. And that's where the argument is coming from. Lots of kobolds are in this machine room. And strangely enough, there isn't as much sound of machinery being worked. It sounds like most of the kobolds are having a fierce argument right now. And the argument that you mostly hear seems to be about you. Talks about, like the name of a weapon that you have, or the name of a spell that you have, and there seems like two groups arguing about what to do with you. But it's very echoey. It's kind of hard to tell. There's various rocks and twists and things in this passage, and none of you notice until you get by when one of the rocks suddenly moves and seems to sprout legs and stand up and then turn around, and there's a kobold there with a big smile, like a huge kind of, like a really like pasted on smile. He has a huge backpack, and the backpack is sort of camouflaged to look like a rock. This kobold is sort of snowy colored, sort of like the kobolds that originally kidnapped you. Remember when you were ambushed? It was the snowy colored ones that were there, but you don't think that he's here. He's quite distinct. He's a little bit bigger. He's had like a sharper look in his eye, and he has this crazy grin of this giant backpack. But he's the snowy colored one, like that tribe up there. Whereas all the other kobolds you'll see are sort of muddy brown and gray, almost like cave colored. And you're sort of like, again, camouflage to be adapted to this environment. He seems to come from somewhere else, somewhere snowy. He introduces himself as Dak-Dak. I Dak-Dak. Dak-Dak, Dak-Dak backpack. Dak-Dak big backpack. Dak-Dak kobold, but Dak-Dak friend. Dak-Dak not attack you. He seems to not know common very well. So kobolds rarely speak common. So he's unusually eloquent, but he's still kind of he sort of grasps at words, and so sometimes I'll be in character, sometimes not. But he seems to be trying to describe to you, like, kobolds want money. Kobolds want to appease dragon. The kobolds won't always attack you. Kobolds might want to be friends with you. Kobolds may need you as ally. It seems like a very strange word that he's not used to saying, like, ally. You make friends with kobolds. You make ally with kobolds. Good thing happen. Oh, no need to kill each other. So this fits into the way the kobolds have been generally wanting to kill you, and they retreated after you killed several of them, and you can say hostilities are a bit high. He seems to propose that there's still a chance for an alliance by basically doing a parlay, like coming in and saying we're willing to talk, we're willing to come to terms to be allies instead of enemies. We don't have to destroy each other. Dak-Dak tries to convince you of this. And he wants you to agree. There's not much time to debate this because you can hear that the argument that's going down there, some kobolds have heard Dak-Dak say this, and it's like, yeah, listen to Dak-Dak. Dak-Dak's talking to them. Dak-Dak will bring them in. So it seems like there are some kobolds already in the room that are kind of open to the idea of talking. But there's a maybe larger group of kobolds like, no, kill them. If they come in here, they should die. It says, no, let's just at least talk to them. Don't attack them right away. It's truce, white flag. They're all talking about that. So there's a faction that seems to be really against you, and there seems to be a faction that's for you. It seems like, because of the way the numbers go, if you hang out here for too long, they start saying like, well, if they're friends, why aren't they coming in? They're probably planning to kill us. They're starting to become more suspicious of you if you hang out here in the corridor. So there's a bit of pressure to like say, we got to decide to either go in under the flag of truce or say, nah, screw it, we're just going to go in, we're going to attack. Generally, if you decide like, okay, we're going to try to ally with somebody, and if it goes badly, they're usually a harder enemy than if you just attack them to begin with. Because, if you talk with them and negotiate with them, they're learning more about you. You can't really surprise them. That you can't sneak up on them. They've checked out your equipment, all that stuff. So this is one of those classic things that I'll often ask, that yes, you have the option to talk your way out of something instead of fight. But once you choose fight, it's very hard to go back to talking. So you can't really flop back and forth. You can't have half of you negotiating, half of you attacking. This is a team game and you have a team vote. But also, it goes the other way, that if you decide to talk to them and then, actually, these terms are not what we hoped for, the terms of alliance aren't what we hoped for, okay, let's attack them, they'll be a harder enemy as a result. It's a momentous decision. However, Myrrh says that he's been here before in his parallel world. Whether you believe Myrrh or not, we've never heard of parallel universes. So he swears he's jumped from parallel universe where he's done this before.
Relatively a good person.
We think Myrrh's crazy.
I might be crazy, but I'm relatively good. like Banfield, are they good people? You guys are like, some of you seem to like them.
Anyway, time is running out.
But
Are you going to
they
parlay
are
or
our
not?
friends. We can profit from them and get gear from them. And
The kobolds? Or
yes.
birds, yeah.
I'm starting to think that Mer's on the right path because up until
They're
6
not
months
bad.
ago, I didn't know that I could summon ice, throw it at people. So I reckon parallel universes are
Good.
probably
I
pretty
think
legit
he
at
also
this
likes
point.
chaos and will enjoy putting us in a situation that we think it's one thing but not the other.
Ooh.
I'm happy.
Yes. I'm not going to deny that.
It'd be
Yes.
one of them.
I'm happy
But
to go in under
not-
truth.
Yeah, I think
I'll go
I
in
think
under truth.
I think we give it a
Yeah.
try.
Alrighty, let's give it a
Keep
try.
talking a try.
Okay,
You know?
right. So yeah, this is, again, it's a group thing. So sometimes I'll stop, and against a team game, I'll really try to make sure everybody's on board. And yeah, it's good that you sort of work together. If you're in the minority, you might get your way another way. There's a bit of a ongoing sort of political game that you're all playing with each other. Like, okay, we'll go your way this time. But if you really feel like, I just want to formally say that I think this is a bad idea, I want you to remember this if it turns bad, because then you might get credit for your next vote, that kind of thing. So don't be afraid to disagree. You just want to eventually say, okay, I'm going to go with the majority. So you decide to parlay. All right. So again, you're getting a situation where I'll describe things, but things start to move faster as we go. So I'll lay a bunch of things down. Now, as I mentioned things, just like last time, I'll mention things quickly. You might have a chance to investigate. You might all vote to do another investigation session. There's room for that. So after you're through this area, you might say, oh, something happened in this next couple minutes that I want to check out later on. So I want to investigate. Now that you're familiar with investigation, there's like a little thread of the sweater you can start to pull on. So I'm going to mention some things in passing. If you want more detail, you'll just have to investigate later because things move fast. So you go down to this machine room, and it's now laid out on this map. And the video operator, you can show the map once in a while, but it's not that important. I'd rather you keep it mostly on people's faces. But if you ever want to show the map, feel free. I know you've got a great setup now where you can show all of these things at once. So this machine room is full of machinery. I'm going to draw it more during the break, but there's a lot of like towers that go that are in here. So there's these 5-foot square towers. So they're about 10 feet high, and they kind of rise from the floor. The ceiling itself is like 10, 20, 25 feet. So this is like an elevation view. So it's quite high. Those of you who have been feeling very cooped up, this is definitely the biggest space you've been in because this is 5-foot squares. It's quite a long room with a very high ceiling. It's really full of machinery and junk. There's several of these towers all around, and the towers have machines on top of them. And there's conduits connecting them, a real mess of kind of like basic wires and conduits. A lot of chains and things hanging down in various places, belts and chains and wires. And a lot of just workbenches that are kobold-sized, kobolds being small. They're working on machinery. So like you peeked before, there seems to be an ongoing operation like pressing, welding, smashing, melting, all that stuff. And some of them are still busy, hard at work there. This portcullis is open, or at least it opens up. So Dak goes, this is, they're ready to talk! And so clink, 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 the portcullis comes up. And you come in, Dak follows you with that big grin on his face. Those of you, who's got a high passive perception? I could.
15? Well,
13.
Okay, yep. Yeah, those of you who have a 13 or higher passive perception, that means you have a +3 on your perception bonus, because passive just means it's like you're always rolling
I've
10
got a
on
passive
perception check.
wisdom bracket perception.
Sure, yes, right,
that
yep,
it?
exactly it. Yep.
Yeah,
mhm.
I've got those.
Okay, yeah. Those who are 13 and higher are sharp enough to know that Torg has followed you. He's now kind of being sneaky. He can move through walls at will, and he's sort of going in and out of the walls and staying in the shadows, but those of you with keen eyesight know it's like, he's following us. And, he still looks mad. He stopped yelling because he's trying to stay sneaky. But you're not sure there's anything you can really do about him because he's a ghost. As soon as if any of you focus on him, he just vanishes into the wall. So it seems like there's not much you can do to stop him from following you. He, obviously from what he said before, seems upset about that. You see a few things in this room also of interest. First of all, dozens of kobolds. Not all of them look like they're fighting fit. They're not armored and full of weapons. Some of them are. They seem more fighting types, so they're potentially dangerous. But a lot of them are just workers. You also see in the corner a mech. This is a large metal thing. It is a metal suit. It's something that has mechanical arms and legs. The arms are drills and shovels and picks and things. They have several different arms. And the legs are sort of like stomping sort of movement legs. In science fiction terms, almost like a battle mech. Well, there is someone inside of this. They are strapped in with their arms and legs that seem to be in cuffs of some sort. And she looks horrible. She's a dragonborn. The heritage that she draws from is a black dragon. So she has glossy black scales. She's wearing very fine clothes that seem really tattered, like they were nice a year ago, but they've just been not washed, not mended, and been sort of abused in various ways. And she is crazed. At this point, she's just saying, like, get the shard, find the shard, get the shard. But as soon as you walk in, she's, shards, they have shards, get the shards. You can see that she's struggling to get free, but there are these huge brackets that are attaching her to this wall. And she's like banging and just staring at you. And it seems like she's focusing, if it's in your pocket, she looks exactly like where it is in your pocket. If it's around your neck, she looks at it around your neck. So she's going on about shards. These machines, again, are all around. There's lots of cover. I'll draw that as necessary. In the middle, you see a nest. So up high, picture it sort of hovering here about 20 feet up if you look at this elevation. There's a sort of dish shaped of metal. It's held up by struts and things. And someone is peeking out over it. This is a winged kobold. This is something that enticed you into this room. They have a burned rectangle around their eyes, like a kobold but with wings. Actually, there's a picture of kobold. I'm not sure, video operator, if we have, or hero. I don't have to call you video operator. I can call you by hero. It's hero! I sent a picture of a kobold to Liam, so if you want to show that at any point, feel free. You all seen kobolds before, but I'll show them to you. Yeah, so kobolds, like that. Sorry, the screen's moving.
And how tall are they?
They're about the size of a child, so they're small creatures.
Small but creepy.
Like halflings, so they'll come up to your waist. All right. So this one has wings. They also have a blonde pompadour wig, just like a fashionable sort of fancy person's wig, and it's just stacked up on their head with these sort of curls hanging down. But he just seems to be lurking.
It's a French aristocrat kind of
Yes,
thing.
exactly.
Is that what we've got going on here?
Yes, exactly. A real Marie Antoinette
Okay.
type thing. This person's name, they refer to him as BB, because someone was talking to BB, and BB is up there, and he obviously seems to be some sort of boss, and you quickly realize that he's the one that's arguing for why not to trust you. He's against you in this discussion about being an ally. He sings little snatches and talks, and goes, I'm seeking to deploy. Ha! Yes! Yes! Deploy! Construction! Yes! Yes! They destroy! Pointing at all of you. They destroy. Heroes. Ha, 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 ha. No, murder hobos. Murder hobos. Ghost lovers. That's fucked up. Ghost lovers. You get diseases that way. We take their things. We don't need their things. We don't need their things. We're gonna kill them. Kill them. Take their things. And then, of course, Dak's like, no, friend, trade, do steel deal? Steel deal. Did I describe steel deal? BB, they get to steal, say, sword from you. We kill them if we steal the sword. No, BB, they steal the sword at the same time you steal 5 gold from them. So you steal from each other at the same time. It's called steel deal. It's something I invented in a way that each of you, like, if you have too much gold, too many swords, and they have too much gold, it works, yeah? So double steel deal. I was like, don't like it. No, we should just kill them. Let's take all their stuff. So the main proposal is that, yeah, you can actually have a trading relationship, is what BB, what Dak is obviously trying to describe. You can buy and sell things from the kobold in this machine shop. So that's what you see why it'd be valuable. You see all kinds of evidence. There are swords and bits of armor and stuff around. So there's another reason to try to make this work. So the kobolds kobolds are, think of them sort of like a jury. They're all listening to both sides. They'll either listen to Dak or they'll listen to BB. And you can sort of tell basically why they're standing and who they're looking at, who they're kind of voting for right now. And they're leaning to the side of BB. That's why I call this an RP battle, role-play battles, because you actually do moves to sort of like reduce their strength of the people who are on their side and draw more to your side. So it's a bit of a mechanical score that shows you how well you're doing with this argument. All right, so the kobolds, they argue for that you should be an ally. You can fight other things nearby. You can trade. We'll get into that a little bit later. They have lots of coins. There's the steel deal opportunity. And also mentions the orrery, pointing at the orrery, which of course is sitting in this room next to a chair that is covered with blood, because that's where the people who are being tortured were strapped, apparently, as they're being asked about the orrery. Fairly grim. Of course, BB thinks that you should be attacked and all that, so you don't have much time, so there's some urgency as you do this. Now we'll get into the RP battle. All right. So again, we resolve without direct combat. So who here feels like they have a PC that you've built more around personality and your social skills. Maybe you're into deception and knowledge. Maybe you don't know which die you roll to do damage. Is there anybody who feels like you're kind of in a softer side? If that's true, this is your chance to shine, right? This is your chance to sort of take the fore in a really important outcome where you can prevail through the soft skills. You might become more of a lover or a seducer than a fighter, right? So this is a real chance for that. If you're not into soft skills, that's no worry. You'll still can do your best. Everybody can do some soft skills with your charisma and your wisdom and your intelligence. But also you can support other people as they sort of make these moves. So each side has a stance, like a thing they'll repeat, and the people on their side repeat. BB's stance basically is this party can't be trusted. They're going to screw up our operation here, which is going very well, and they must be killed immediately. That's kind of his stance. If you don't change that stance very quickly, you'll be attacked by BB and his minions. So a fight is going to break out quite soon. So now you decide, what do you want that stance to become? You want BB to feel differently about this. You want BB to say something different and have all of his minions say something different. So I suggest something, but you can change basically what you're going for. Here's what I suggest. Like, here's an example. You want BB to say instead, well, helping this party with some equipment and advice is in our best interest as kobolds. You want him to say, we should tell them our secrets, and we'll get their help figuring out how we can make the most of our situation. You want that to be BB's stance. Let's have some trade. Let's help each other out in a dangerous world. And if BB changes his mind, then as a result, you're pretty sure they'll become an ally. They'll give you information. They'll give you access to some of these materials. You might be able to supply your party, as long as you're acting in the kobold's interest. They're not going to become slaves to you. They're going to pursue their own interest, but you might be able to find a compromise. The jury, like I said, is kobold. So as I'm moving these beads around, you can imagine that has something to do with whether how many kobolds are on your side. I'll write some things down as we go, because the room is not important for now. All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there, so one, would there be enough time or enough space for me to walk over to Archie to talk to him quickly and just say a couple of things?
Yeah, as part of this, so as you make the moves pretty loose, we're not doing necessarily combat rounds, so as you collaborate, you can imagine a great time to do that is where, as you're figuring out how to make these points, you might collaborate and sort of work with each other a little bit. Okay?
And am I able to possibly get a distraction happening and then cast a spell?
Yes, spells definitely. So if you use spells, especially that are spell slots, you'll tend to get advantages on these different rolls and things. So yeah, because just like in combat, it's important to use your spells and limited abilities. You can do that here as well.
And,
so yeah.
And lastly, do I know whether kobolds are particularly wise?
No, that would actually take a move unto itself. Yeah, so it's a little bit too fast moving for you to kind of rack your brain on it. So at the time that comes, what I might do is have you do like a nature roll or something. The better you do the nature roll, the better you assess the kobold. So it's not going to come down to a D20 roll based on some of your better skills and you helping each other out. And that could be part of the roll that you do. But yeah, it can involve spells and things. Okay. So here's a few points. What I'll do is I'll write down just a brief version of these points, but I'll describe them at length and I'll put down a few words here. So the NPC, the kobolds, have three main points that BB is repeating. Okay, one is the association with the red ghost and this rumored assessment that's been done by Renish, and you know who Renish is, shows that they are going to sympathize with our enemy, the Reds. So you actually can find things out just by what stance they're saying. And so one of the big beefs that BB has against you is association with the Reds. So I'll just say, so NPC says, right? So one is Reds are friends. I'll turn this right way up here once I'm done writing it all down. So the Reds are, you can magically turn it upside down with the magic of that, but you all need to read it as well. That's point number one. Number two, BB says, we're building some great machines here that mine chaos shards. We sell those to the gnolls for a lot of money. And we give that money to the Black Dragon. Let's not screw that up. We have got a good thing going here, right? So number two is we have good operation. And the operation is gnolls buy our machines. he gestures to that mech over in the corner where he talks about the machines that we build. He points towards that dragonborn struggling in that big metal mech. And they mention also the black dragon. All these things are ways you can sort of take apart some of their points. Like, okay, we're going to disprove that this is true, or we're going to, you have some points of our own. So you might start thinking about how can we get them to doubt this is true? How do we get the jury of kobolds to not believe these statements? There's something that you can do with your soft skills. Third, we pay the goblins for the machines they bring from the farms. But that's cheap and is profitable. So he's basically talking about this is why our operation works and why we don't need these people screwing it up. We buy machines from goblins. And that's good profit. Arrow, profit. All right? So those are three things that he keeps saying and that his jury, the people on his side of the jury are repeating and sort of agreeing with. You want to think of ways that you can tear that down, disprove these three things. You can also cut them down in some other way, right? You can be creative. But this just helps guide you. If you can't think of anything else, it's good to try to destroy this. Meanwhile, of course, there's got to be something that they actually care about. You have your own points. So as the PCs, now this is, again, something you can change all these, but I'm going to suggest some things, and you can change them. But each of these points, I want to make sure that at least one person thinks that it's worth arguing, because you're accountable for saying these things. All right, so this is a statement that again, the NPCs might try to disprove. And here's some that I think that you would make to argue, hey, you should change your stance. You change the way we feel. All right. All right. Here's one. I can erase these if nobody likes them or we want to change them. One is that we, the PCs, we can gather lots of coins that kobolds can get in exchange to sell to us. We can do steal deals. You want money, we want items. Steal deal. So that's your main argument. So we have money to buy stuff from you, right? That's pretty appealing. A lot of the kobolds repeat that, like, oh yeah, money, black dragon, we need money for the black dragon. So that seems to appeal to them. So you might think of things that you could do to further prove that. How are you going to demonstrate, convince them this is true, that you have money now and you're capable of getting lots of money? You're making a claim like, we are going to be so rich, that kind of thing. So think of how you do that. Here's another point that you guys can make. Is we, the PCs, we can figure out how to operate the orrery. Like, we're smart. That thing you haven't figured out, we can help you figure it out. So maybe it stays on the board. We can figure out orrery, which they are interested in. Forget about the torture. That's let bygones be bygones. You don't have to torture anybody to figure that out. We'll figure it out. Here's a third point that you might say, is we would just be a great ally because we know how the whole power balance works here. Like, you're a small part in a larger system. We'll figure out how the powers in this valley work, this canyon, and we're great. We're going to be out there. We're going to be discovering things. We're just a great ally. We'll help you understand the relationships. As ally, we know who is in power, or you'll at least be able to figure it out. All right? So here are the points on either side. Each of you, and we'll probably have time for maybe like 4 arguments here, depending on how our time goes, right? So, so some of you can make the points, and some of you can just support that point. If you're especially good at soft skills, these are like Arcana, Insight, History, Persuasion, Deception. These are things that are ways that you can sort of get them to see new facts or convince them. Each of those skills has different ramifications if you use it. If you're not good at any of those things, then what you probably do is hang back and you'll find a way to use your physical skills or use an item or a spell or an ability to kind of boost somebody's point. Get the point that way. Oh, there we go. Yeah, just go and gesture to me. I don't mind. I'll move it in there. Okay. First of all, on the PC side, just raise your hand if this is a statement that you agree with. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Is that a statement that you'd like to say? Is that a useful one to say? Guys, want to make sure it sponsors a third one? Yeah? Those are all acceptable to you?
Yeah.
I don't want to put something there because, if otherwise, a couple will say, you said this, and it says, well, none of us said that. I just want to make sure. So you're repeating those points, and you want to strengthen those. Okay.
I would also like to point out that I'm not a friend of the Reds. Reds are not my friend.
Yeah, I've got a good count of that one too.
I have my Tiamat pair of beads. I followed the Black Dragon.
Okay.
Like Ivan.
I've written some words down. That's great. I've got some beads in a pile. So
Little
these
bows.
are these are points. So just these are generic points. It's basically how many kobolds are on your side, multiplied by 4 or 5 or so. This demonstrates how much support there is for each side. So this is BB's points. These are your points, and these beads will move around or go on and off based on how well you do. So here's how the mechanics go. It's very much like the skill rolls you've done before. And if you win, winning by more points has a bigger effect on the kobolds than barely winning, right? So you want to have the most beads by the time we run out of time here, and the more of a bead difference you have, the better. Okay, so each PC can only go once, so you can only do the lead roll once. Those of you can support, like I mentioned. So again, you try to tear down one of the NPC points by disproving something they're saying, or support more strength than a point that you've already made there about why they should take it on. You should decide the skill that you're using to do that. So just like you've done with rolls before, take a look at your skills. I do advise that you, this is part of a role-playing game. Try to stick to things you're pretty good at because your odds are not great, and you really want to win this battle. Murr definitely says you want to win this battle, so you want to have a few points in your side. You will get some pluses, like when you do a big roll. So remember, I always say, "Oh, do you know world fact? I'll give you an extra bead. If you have a world fact, you won't run out of beads. I'll give you some extra points if you have that." Well, you can get more than a few extra points by doing that. You can name a world fact that you think is on your side. You can also just be creative, like if you use a skill that's maybe not an optimal skill. I can tell it's not your strongest skill, but you thought of a really creative way to do it. That can give you a little boost. So it can make up for the fact you're not using your absolute best skill. Yeah. Lastly is acting. If you say something like, if you give a one-sentence version, like if you say it in character in a way that kind of will give that shiver down the spine, like, yes, I picture it, I'll give you an extra point for that as well. This is your opportunity. You don't have to, but if you do have a nice little way to phrase it in character, that's worth an extra point as well. And as I do, I'll basically build these up and I'll reveal how many points you got with your try. Okay, so start thinking about that. Anybody will be able to go first, so just look through your skills, making sure I've got this set.
If there's ever a chance to talk to the group,
Yeah, you do now.
Galarian says, "Okay, guys, high risk, high reward. I might be able to cast Charm personally. If we can charm BB, he can tell the rest of the kobolds that we're
Maybe.
friendly because he'll be my friend for an hour."
But that's high risk. Maybe we should wait until we've tried our best for everything else.
I feel like that could be last ditch.
Do we want to leave that as a last case?
Yeah.
Because we might be able to convince him without it, but if we do the spell but we mess it up, he's going to notice it and he's going to go, "No, change my mind, no, kill everyone."
That's a good point. If things go bad, can someone can someone make a distraction and I'll hide behind it and cast the charm?
Sure thing.
All
We
right.
can definitely do
Yes.
Okay.
I'd rather
Yeah,
not
me too.
in case it goes sour, but
If it's going sour anyway,
Who goes
first?
maybe that's
that.
the way
I've got a little good idea.
All right.
Okay, so basically I'm going to counter the first point you guys made. Now we don't like the reds. The creepy little ghost behind us has been following us for like the last 20 minutes. We don't like the reds. The only reason we did the initiation was for treasure. Treasure we can give to you.
Ooh,
So-
interesting.
Don't like the reds. So, yeah.
Good, okay, fantastic. So that's a point. Now, whether you make the roll with that skill or anybody else, this is a good idea. This is definitely a way what you do is tearing down this thing that the reds are their friends. You basically arguing use the reds. You can do this a few different ways. One is a way you might have ideas, like persuasion, of course, can do that. But it can be creative, like even history. Like, I know the history of the reds, like that the reds are there to be used. Like the reds use other people, we decided to use the reds. What skill do you have that you think would be useful there that you're good at, or is somebody else's skill that can take this great idea?
my relevant skills are bad, but I do have prayer beads that are useful.
Yeah, for
I
anything religious or anything like
I
that, so keep that in
have
mind.
Tiamat prayer beads.
And that might give them a plus
Well,
right on
yeah,
that.
well, I do have +2 history, but I don't think that really relates to.
Well, history is actually pretty
Yeah.
acceptable because it's the history of the Reds. Yeah, so you can say that I'm going to tell you what I know about the Reds, and they use people, and we've just used them, and turn about as fair play. So I think that's worthwhile.
Okay, awesome.
Sounds good. Okay, so yeah, so based on that, I'm going to basically I might be putting points in my hand because it might be especially original. If there's a world fact, this thing about like maybe it is relevant, like oh that Torg is there, you know, like if you say like maybe you can spy and see that Torg is mad at us.
Yeah, let me tell you something real quick.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So maybe I'm putting something in my hand about that. And last thing is, if you can give me one line, right? So what's a few words that you can say that in character that you think would deserve an extra point?
Ghost is creepy. We don't like him. Can we do this already?
all right. So if that gives me that special tingle in my spine to give you a point there. Does anybody have? Because not everybody will be able to do a lead role like this. Is there something else that you could do to sort of boost this up? Like you have a different skill, a different ability. You can also burn a spell slot of some sort that you think will juice this. Because you get advantage on this roll that she's about to make. Anybody got anything to do to support this point?
Are we each doing this, or is May doing
We only have a certain amount of time, so no, I think we'll probably have a chance, maybe 3 of you to
Could
do
we
this.
add
to keep moving.
information to it? Does that help?
I wouldn't want to complicate it. No, mostly
No,
want to
okay.
support what she's already done. So is there
I'd
anything
just
that
like to say that I am not part of Reds, and I show them my Tiamat beads.
Ah, okay.
I
See, that's a good
follow
example.
the Black Dragon.
Ah.
I'm not their friends.
Okay, so why don't you quickly roll religion, because that is something where with the prayer beads, I'll give you a +1 on that because you've done that quite well.
Oh, shit. What's my religion? 6.
Yes.
That was-
Blasphemy.
Oh, you
Use
try.
blasphemy.
Yeah, you don't make this point worse, but you don't add any points on that. I'd be adding more points on the board. So unfortunately, yeah. So that's as good as it's going to get. I'm going to reveal that. I'm going to give you 3 points. All of those things are very good. So you're going to roll history, and you add 3 on top of everything else. So it's a D20 plus your history is what?
+2.
+2. Let's do the math together, and then those 3.
11, so 13.
Yeah, 11 plus 2 for history is 13, plus another 3 here is 16. So I can compare that to, I have a DC that basically is that tilts it one way or the other, and I can reveal, once I look it up, yes, that is good enough. All right. You have taken away one of these points, so now it is 5-4. You've weakened the jury that says, oh, maybe the Reds aren't their friends. They actually believe this. Okay, that's an example of how we're wearing this down. Who's got another idea?
Okay. We took time and we investigated very thoroughly the Reds. We have a certain set of skills amongst us.
Yeah.
We were able to solve quite a few puzzles. We are very intelligent, and I think we are a very strong ally to you to try and figure out the Ori.
Oh, the worry. Okay. All right. So, figure out skills that you have, or maybe you've inspired somebody else. Say, oh, that's a great idea. I definitely agree that what you're doing is boosting this. You're going to try and give yourself a point on this side by saying, yeah, we can figure out the Ori. Yourself or somebody else who has a skill that is going to lead this role that's going to be good for proving that you can figure out the Ori.
I would like to add that we had it before them, so we were already working on it. We have information on it.
Oh yeah, there might be something you might cite as a world fact. So you want to find like the one world fact that really punches through. So you also want to compare that. So you're not making your decisions. You're brainstorming right now while I write a few things down. Keep going.
So we know that it's devils versus demons. So it's demons that are.
Wait,
in
are we
control
working?
of the-
What are we talking about? The Ori or?
The Ori? Yeah. So let's stick on the Ori. So let's follow the Ori thing. Do you
Yeah,
think you
so
can tie that in?
I misunderstood what you were.
No,
getting
sorry.
at,
This is
so-
how do you support this Ori argument? Who's got a skill that you think is good for proving the Ori, and who's also got
Oh, so
world
just looking
facts
at
and stuff?
Our skills. Okay.
Yeah.
How liberal can we be with the truth?
Well, you can boost with deception, but I mean the lead roller picks one skill, so you can use deception as your skill and lie about, oh yeah, we know all about the Ori. Make it. If you're good at deception, you should lean into that. But you might be good with, say, Arcana, or maybe again history, or investigation. Like just by looking at it, you can sort of figure out, like, well, I bet I can. Just get my hands on it. I'll show you some things. So what I do is I just adapt your success to what you're good at, right? So there's many ways to prove this point. Somebody around here is good at something that I'm sure will help drive that. And you have first dibs because you're the one who suggested it.
Yeah, and I was just looking. I have high both Arcana and Investigation.
Fantastic.
I have
Okay.
+5 for both of those.
Oh,
so-
great. Yeah, great. So let's say you're the lead roller, and Arcana versus Investigation, it doesn't matter too much. Which paints a better picture? Which do you think tells a better story? You're showing off how good you are at Investigation or Arcana?
I think Investigation.
Okay, so your argument is like, I'll let me just put my hands on it, I'll figure it out. So let's do this all over again. All right. Does anybody? So first, let's start with you. Is there a world fact that you think is relevant? So as you're making this argument about why you're going to figure it out, is there something that's happened already in the story that you want to mention?
Yeah, I think that the fact that we, as a team, have solved puzzles very
That's
quickly.
right, you made that point. Okay, good. So you might describe a little bit of that. Yeah, like, hey, we just went through this. Well, now you mentioned the red dungeon. Yeah, so they're like, where are the puzzles? Yeah?
Yeah,
You can
and but that's about.
Oh, that's okay. But
we're
see,
not on the side.
what we've done already is that we've already had a character who says, yes, we're down in the red dungeon, you know that, but
trying
we
to find
solved
out
all the
what we
puzzles. So, okay, so maybe I've given you a point if that's something that punches through.
Yeah.
The other thing is, yeah, are you using something clever with your investigation? You know, is using investigations ways that clever, that might add a point, right? And last, can you say something in character that you think would get your point across?
We have skills that could be very beneficial to you. We have understandings of things that you might not understand that might benefit you.
Ah, that was good authority. There was something about that. Seems like you've done this in real life and you're translating some of these things into your character. I could definitely see that. Okay, great. Yeah, I felt quite reassured. So maybe I've given you a point for that. Okay, great. All right, I'm going to reveal that, yes, there's 2 points you've earned that way amongst those 3 things. Very good. Now, is there anything that anybody else who probably isn't going to do a lead role, but can think of a way to support it? Because again, our time is short, so we'll probably have 3 goes. Anybody got something they want to do? That to support this point, it's all about the orreries or anything that you have. It could be, maybe a non-soft skill. It could be, you could use strength or dexterity.
Can we use sort of a dexterity
Yeah,
or someone to manipulate?
Yeah,
or
exactly.
and
So
actually
by
turn the
following
various spheres around
by following
and
the instructions from this
orientate
one,
them?
you could very
Yeah.
quickly be doing that. So if you want to be the supporter, only one person gets to support. You're at the orrery. If you want to give that a go to be
Yeah,
a
sure.
supporting role,
Yes.
so just roll a dexterity roll, please. Just pure dexterity.
11.
11.
Plus, do I add my dexterity bonus?
Yes, you'd add your
Plus
dexterity
3,
bonus.
so that's 14.
14. Okay, that is good enough. Yeah. So what you do is you add an extra point. Okay. So now you've got that plus 3. Very good. Now it's time for you to roll your d20. You're going to add your investigation, and then you're going to add these 3 that you built up with all the help that you've done.
Okay, so that is 1720.
1720. Fantastic. All right. Let me see if that is way above. Hang on. 20, 20, 20. That is more than 5 above the target number. You do this especially well. So with thanks to the help that you got from the dexterity, you doing the things that you did, this thing is boosted up. They really believe this about the orrery, and we'll say a couple points. I'm not sure whether to take these away. Yeah, let's just go ahead. 2 points move over from one side to the other. Okay, fantastic. So you are really pulling ahead. There is one more chance. No, there's a countervailing force. There's a couple counter arguments they start making against you that might tilt the battle the other way. So let me do that next. Okay, the orrery. Let's say that's boosted by 2, and these are things that will affect, if you win, how the kobolds go back. All right. Okay. I'll skip that one. So I'm choosing amongst all the different ways that they can sort of play here. Oh, yeah, okay. So one of the things that he said, PCs, allies, many stories. He's up in the nest, BB. Yeah, I heard stories about so-called allies. Yeah, murder hobos. You stab our back, right? You might be okay today, but I've heard so many stories about adventurers that come in and make allies with kobolds. As soon as kobolds not useful, kill the kobolds. Happens all the time. I can tell many stories. So he's using history to try to recite all of the examples throughout history that adventurers have tried to ally with and screw over. So I know his thing. He seems to he seems to be unusually well prepared. So I'm probably giving him a plus based on that, on how well he rolls. And we're going to see how well he does on this. Okay. He wins, but not by much. He pulls over 1 bead over on this other side, and he managed to tear that down a bit. Murder hobos, he says. 1 more countervailing force. Usually I alternate these, but I did both of yours. I'm doing both of these. What's another thing that he tries to do? Yeah. Okay, so he tries to boost his argument about the mining machines. And he says, yeah, so we're building these great machines, right? Look how good these things are. These things can mine chaos shards. They can make us really rich. We sell these things to the gnolls. The gnolls are paying us good money for it. Look, let's see how well it works. And he basically uses, he quickly directs the smartest kobolds, because his kobolds that are on his side work on his behalf. Some of those kobolds, they use their investigation to show off how well their mining tech works. So they start showing off, like, this is something that they can't possibly figure out. They're basically doing like a trade show sort of thing, and that they pull out something you haven't seen before, which is like a little small bot of its own. It's like a little miniature mining bot. It says, look, and the next model, like Job's next model is starting to work. Power that thing up, figure it out. And they're trying to yeah, it's out of charge, boss. I can't charge. It's like, figure it out. So this role is representing how well they're trying to get their machines doing to kind of rally their side. So the higher I roll here, and this is something that they seem pretty well prepared for, but not especially strong. So again, I'm rolling here. Oh no, very bad. It goes really wrong. As a result, that's such a hard fail.
Was that a 1?
It was a 1. I rolled a 1. Wow. Oh no. Okay. Somebody tell me a fun story about what goes wrong during a trade show when you're demonstrating mining machinery. While I write this down.
All the panels fall off.
Yeah.
And just
Sitting there just kind of
face.
jerking.
Smoke stuff
Reaction.
falling out.
And on top of that, right at
Yeah.
the point where somebody's coming to look at it, it drops on someone's foot.
Right.
Demo gods.
It starts up and
Little
just starts
submarine
going
pops
into
out.
no
Makes that
arrows.
little yeah.
And the 3 kobolds are like pretty close together and somewhat touching. So when the first one gets electrocuted, all 3 of them kind of jerk and fall over.
That's right. All kinds of horrible things happen. So again, that point they won back is more than overall. Like, you have 2 points on your side. You are
That's so
absolutely slaying it. You did some really good rolls yourself. They've had some very bad luck, and chose maybe some of the wrong things to
Not
argue.
okay.
So here at the end, and we're right near the end of the time. Yeah, I think we should probably move on. Unless is there something that somebody's really dying to make, or there's a question. Let's say you don't have to score any more points. Is there any last quick question? Think of it a mini investigation. Is there something else that you want to sort of say in parting? Your closing arguments might reveal more information. Again, you've got this thing won. Is there anything else that you wanted to really get out of them, or do, or find out while they're all distracted and debating with each other?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Yes, you're happy.
Where'd you find the Dragonborn? I'm curious.
If you
Ah.
worship the dragon, why is she in chains?
Great.
Why
Okay,
she
so we'll
move?
do a quick investigation. Yeah, you basically sidle up some of the kobolds on your side. It's like, hey, what's the Dragonborn? Now, this kobold is kind of like a young adult, and she looks nervously up at BB, but she kind of just tries to, she's hesitant. Roll a quick persuasion or intimidation. Depending on whatever is better. Of course, failing at intimidation can make the relationship go sour, but can work better. If it works better than persuasion. What you got?
Oh, I got a 6.
You got a 6. Okay, but you were using persuasion or intimidation?
They're both the same.
Okay, let's say persuasion, right? Yeah, normally I would have nailed you down on this. We're doing this quickly. Yeah, you try to persuade her to do that. She wants to tell you, but she's just like she's too scared of BB, but she's like, talk to me later. So sometimes when you fail at an investigation, I'll at least give you a clue about you'll certainly succeed if you just try again. It's sort of like the thing with the shackles. Like, so don't be too sad if your investigation doesn't go anywhere, because now you can talk to her, but she just feels like this is not
And
the
I
right
can
time.
single out that kobold.
You can single her out, yeah. So just remind me later on, like, hey, is BB distracted enough that I can talk to her again? You will find out an answer to that question. She won't answer it quite yet. Okay, let me make a note of that. Okay, I'm making that note. Right. No kobold to tell story. Meanwhile, speaking of that mech, yes, she, the Dragonborn in the mech, has been pretty much non-stop this whole time. Just constantly trying to get free and just obsessed with getting at the shards. All right. Okay, so good job. First of all, I'll give XP. So again, I'm giving XP little bits at a time. This is just something to remind you that you don't have to fight in order to get good XP. However, your lives are not in danger. So you get more XP for things that might kill you, because you get negative XP when you die. That's one reason why hard combats are worth more experience points, because death subtracts. So you're all level 2. Everybody here is level 2?
Yep.
Good for you. All right. So that's the equivalent of what I call an easy encounter, according to the Dungeon Master's Guide, is 50 experience points. So add 50.
Oh, hang on, I'm gonna do some maths.
Yeah, so whatever you had, I was giving you like, oh, you automatically get 100 at the end of the session. Now I'm going to give you little bits during the session. We're doing a more sophisticated version of XP build-up. And you can write on your card, so you definitely want to keep a good record of it. Do take pictures of those cards once in a while in case you lose it. I try to take people's word, but I really have to be pretty strict on lose the card, lose the XP, or at least if you lose your character sheet too, you lose all your items. I can't have you just recreate all your items. That's too hard to be sure. So make sure you take pictures of your stuff, even if you put it in that folder. Just keep track of that stuff. All right, so 50 XP for some success there. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so that act is kind of over. Congratulations.
Oh no. Title.
Violence erupts.
Can't trade first? Oh, it's the ghost.
You're not thinking of the
maybe
ghost, is
Taurus
it?
had a different thought.
You do, in fact, hear that. So, first of all, before violence erupts, a couple nice things happen. You each get a different set of Tiamat prayer beads, very much like Mur got. You get a second set, that's fine. These prayer beads, they're multicolored stone beads. They're not gems, but they're nice, pretty stones. And they are 5 different colors. There's black, white, red, blue, and green. And if anybody knows the significance of those colors, you can speak up now.
What were
They're
they, sorry?
different coloured dragons and they're different elements.
Okay.
What were the colours, sorry?
Black, white, blue, red, and green. They're prayer beads, kind of thumb through as you're saying your prayers, and they say the prayers to Tiamat.
Yeah, that's right. The different coloured dragons.
Can we decide which?
that
Are
is
they all
correct.
the bad dragons?
That is correct. Well, yeah. Now
Evil
we're getting to the
dragons.
point where now like heritage is not destiny anymore in D&D, but there's many more stories about chromatic dragons doing a lot of destructive things, and there are stories about them doing nice things. Let's just say any particular chromatic dragon might be fine. There's some significant ones in the D&D lore. There's an ancient green dragon that's very helpful in Storm King's Thunder. But most of those stories have gone that way. Whereas most of the metallic dragons, gold, silver, bronze, copper, some of metal, are generally the stories about them tend to be about how they're helping civilization and helping humanity. They've done more good things. But again, definitely exceptions come back and forth. Tiamat, however, specifically is evil. Tiamat has done many bad things. You can investigate later, know more about Tiamat, but everybody knows enough about Tiamat.
I don't worship it.
She is a goddess. She's like both a goddess and a dragon. She's a deity dragon that is worshipped by many people, and not just dragons and the kobolds themselves. The kobolds offer to trade all of your raw shards for a ripenable shard per PC, right? So if you each, so they know that you've got raw shards, your raw chaos shards. If you hand them, let's try and make it a package deal. If you don't have it, you're all going to end up with a necklace shard, just like Mur has. If you don't mind, Mur, you won't get a second one on this one. You being a world just is too valuable. But if you, as a group, vote like you're going to give up all of your raw chaos shards, you will each get a chaos shard on a necklace. You're kind of being asked to choose sides.
I'll take that.
Discuss amongst yourselves. It's a group vote.
You guys.
I have no opinion because I've already got mine.
I guess for me, from what we've learned of them, in considering the sort of character I am, who's more orientated to order and law, doesn't feel like I want to go down the path of ripening the shard.
I'm the same.
I'm with that as well. I
So
think
you
I would
just want to
prefer
keep your shard?
keep the chaos shard that I've got and not. I don't like being forced to choose. I'll make the decision on my own time.
I'm kind of thinking I don't want to choose any sides because they both seem to have bad intentions.
Well, me personally wants to go yes. My character would say no, so they're going to have to go no, which is really sad.
Sad face. That's fine. That's fine. I'm still the only
You
one.
still got yours?
Yeah, I still have mine. Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so you get to keep.
I sense quite a chaotic kind of element around you. So.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Very good. So yeah, you decide it's like no, we'll hold on to that. All right. One of the so BB, who's been very much won over. You scored so many points that BB is quite won over on that. he sort of has a short conference with some of the kobolds, and you hear them mention like Banfils and Reds, but you've convinced them that they're on side. You didn't necessarily, you destroyed this a little bit, the Reds are friends, so you definitely weakened that, so they're not nearly saying as much like, oh, they're secretly on the side of the Reds, but there's still a few people that are still a little hesitant about that. There's a debate, but it seems like that debate gets won, and they decide to take this chance. So BB, again, he's kind of lurking, you know, back there. He's always kind of staying hidden in the thing. He manipulates some levers, and this machine arm comes down, and it has hanging from it a chaos shard hanging from a chain. And Dak says, free gift. Dak says, like, this never happened. Kobold give you something very rare. You can take. Because you're such a good friend, because Dak did such a good job of being diplomat. One of you can take anyway. So so now, thanks to the number of beads you have based on my roll, you actually can get one free necklace of chaos shard. But you can say like, nope, we'll just stay away from that entirely.
Does anyone not have one? Is it a normal chaos shard or a ripened one?
It is ripe in a bowl, so it's like his. It can be
So
put.
it's a second, so if anyone wants one. Galarian doesn't want one, but he would like to step forward and flick one copper piece to Dak and one copper piece to BB.
So ding! Flies up onto the nest. Okay, that's good. So is that sort of payment? It's like oh, steal deal. So yeah, BB, see, you stole the coin, so now it's okay if he steals the necklace, yeah?
Yes. Steal deal.
Steal deal. Okay,
I like
so
it because it's very valuable with one copy.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Can I, if he's going to take it,
Yeah.
I'm
can
not gonna
I?
take
Oh, you're not?
I'm just going to give them the money
Just-
for the offer.
Okay.
Just
All right.
I'm
So
not-
yeah.
I'm
So
not actually taking
anybody
it.
can own it, and as far as you can tell from
No one
the-
else wants it, I'll take it.
Yeah. I'll
well,
take it too if no one else wants it, but do you have a plan for it?
I was just thinking, like, I'm now after getting burned by that sphere the other day. I'm hesitant of anything that's
right.
for
Yeah. You're a
free.
little go uncertain. Sure.
I'm wondering whether I can use my mage hand to grab it and
If you want it,
manipulate
yeah. So
and-
first of all, who wants to get it, and then how you get it will be the second thing. Who wants it, and if there's more than one person wants it, you'll roll. Just do
I'll
a
get it.
random
Does
roll.
anyone else want to roll?
No, I don't want to.
You're out. You're out. You're
I'll
in.
get it.
You're in. Okay. So why don't you
He's
two?
rebellious,
You
so-
two do just a roll, right? So you can either negotiate between. It's like, you have it, or just do a roll to be fair.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Roll off. See who gets it. Oh, 15. That's got to be on the table. It doesn't count.
Bad score anyway.
Okay.
Lucky.
12.
Okay. All right. So now you've agreed this is yours, but you get it with your mage hand.
Yes.
You do. You send out your mage hand. You know, picks it up as very lightweight. So your mage hand can carry lightweight objects. Yeah, nothing seems to happen. Of course, your mage hand isn't flesh, so
Yeah.
you're not sure what you've proven. Besides the fact it doesn't like explode or anything horrible happens like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
is that enough, or do you bring it to yourself
Yeah,
and do you
I'll
actually handle it?
stash it in my bag using
Or
the
touch
mage
it.
hand still.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just go your back like that. Lowers it.
Perfectly safe. I'm wearing my
What were you like
Wrapped around
before
you
you
first.
put one on? You see?
I was always like
Maybe they gave us like, I don't know, a trapped one that we touch it like later
Exactly.
on.
Yeah,
Just like
okay.
a timer or something.
All right. So, you've done that. Of course, you've been talking, you've been advocating it, and you hear a familiar voice of Torg out by the door. He says even more angrily before, "Kobolds, bad! Kobolds!" He points at all of them with the vitriol. "Ripen shards! Glowing shards, bad! You bad! We fight! We fight! I warned you, we fight!" he says. And assuming that, unless you want to completely reverse and give away all of your shard necklaces, you think you're going to have a fight on your hands. But Torg is now the one that is mad and is going to try to attack you.
Well, the
But, you know, hey, you got a lot of kobolds on your side, you know, you've get new allies, you know, you think that you can handle whatever Torg is going to throw at you. So, unless you change your mind, say, no, we're going to give all the necklace shards over to Torg right now, it's going to escalate to a fight.
Let's see what this guy's made of. Literally.
Yeah, let's see.
Throw it down, all right.
The stuff.
So Torg, he's already at the wall near the portcullis. He reaches his ghostly hand, you know, sort of into the wall, and the portcullis slams shut. Very Zelda-like. So the portcullis slams shut. And then these bronze conduits that are everywhere, you see the sort of flickering, sort of ectoplasmic, the energy, the same kind of stuff that Torg is made of, it is coursing throughout all these bronze conduits, and it goes up into all these machines. These machines are up on these towers. these machines all start to come to life. And they start glowing with energy, and they start aiming dangerous-looking bits at you. So you think the machines themselves. The kobolds are chicken. They start scattering right away. Maybe they'll help, and maybe during this next fight, they're trying to dismantle machines. They're trying to turn things off. They might be getting zapped. So I'm not going to say they've abandoned you in a fight. The ones that are fighting are involved, but it's too slow to show how they're fighting. So some of them fight, some of them hide, but these machines are going to be your threat. We're going to have a break, but during that break, think about your tactics as you go in. These towers are 10 feet off the ground, so to climb up on top of them is a little bit of athletics, which is pretty easy. There's bars and struts, so it's a really easy athletics check to get up there. And if you're up there, it's kind of squeezy, but you can go ahead and actually these are larger platforms. These are 10 by 10 platforms. You can start hacking away at the machines if you got melee weapons. However, if you have missile weapons or missile magic, you might be able to hit the machines at a distance from the floor. However, the ghostly energy went into this nest up above, and as soon as it went in there, you hear people like, no, stop, yes, no, shut down, reset, control C. And it's this is like terrible sort of shock. It's like, you see like the blonde wig pop out, and smoking is sort of spiraling down, it's on fire, and you don't hear anything anymore. The ghostly energy is now coursing out from that, like it's pulsing out from where the nest is towards these machines, and you guess that the thing to really shut this stuff down, because who knows how long this ghost can keep. There's a lot of machines to animate. Getting to that nest up there and shutting it down is probably the way to actually end this fight. So there'll be a secondary objective. They're using athletics or acrobatics, either swinging from chain to chain or climbing chains. You can get up there, and the better you are at that, the sooner maybe one or two of you can work together on that. Get up there and face the peril up there. So use that as your tactics as we take our break. What's the last thing that I want to do? The stakes are high. This is going to be a full-on battle. This is not a quick combat. This is full D&D combat. So you start thinking of all of your different skills. You're going to collaborate on tactics. You want to debate whether you use all of your big guns now, but you know there's this silver crack over here. I didn't describe, but they talk about what you should do next is talk to Jop, and they point over here. There's this weird silver crack that you don't know how to get through. You just think that you're probably going to have to keep moving after this, right? So I'm just saying, meta explaining, try not to, I would suggest don't blow all of your best spells now, because you're probably going to have a couple fights before you can long rest. That's the way these things typically are, and I'll give you a bit of a DM hint if that's the case here. So think of how to show some power but not overdo it as you fight these machines and possibly a ghost. Last thing, just to tantalize you. The last thing before combat breaks out, there's a clank, 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 and this mech is freed. And it's like, get the charge! She starts moving towards you. So you're going to have that to deal with as well. She's got multiple arms with drills and hammers and stuff, and she's starting to clank her way towards you. So that's some fun. Take a break. Okay, here we're back. So we're going to have a full set-piece combat. So this is D&D square by square, round by round. You've seen other forms of combat. This one is just your bread and butter. But every combat that I do, I try to sort of give you a different kind of combat for these first several sessions, so you kind of get a few different tactical sort of flavors, and I focus on a few tactical things. This one in particular is managing who takes the damage by controlling who is visible to the enemies. You have all these towers provide cover, so if you position yourself in a way that an enemy can't see you, well, the enemy usually can't attack you if you've got complete cover. So it's a way to kind of control. However, if everybody hides, well, first of all, they'll find an enemy one way or the other. They might do things that go after you. But these people who are climbing up are going to have no cover, no matter what they do. So if none of you are being shot at by these machines, the people who are climbing are going to be shot at, and they're the ones that are going to end this whole fight. And of course, if they fall, if they die, they get knocked unconscious, that could be bad. So you want to sort of mix between being brave enough to take the damage, because every bit of damage that you take is damage that somebody else who might be much worse off than you won't take. This is the job for the tanks to make themselves visible, and for the softer ones to be gentle or with themselves. However, high damage output at range. Getting up these towers takes some time. If you can do a mix of being up there and also attacking, at range, that's going to help a lot as well. So there's a couple things that you do. The last thing this teaches is just how to do a side objective. So I have this thing about climb progress. The people, if you have a token, by the way, feel free to use it. Otherwise, I will give you a number. So
it on the
who has a token already? Yeah, put it on the board. Put yourselves just kind of all in this area here. So you have to be within a few of my finger there. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, you can all move one more. If you want to be more scattered or together, it's up to you. You can all move 2 spaces from where you just started off. All right.
Will you back one, back
Anybody
two?
not have a token?
I'll be good there.
Go there. Go there.
All right.
Where you are, Archie?
Yeah, purple.
Cool.
But you can move me around.
Oh, where's the nest again? Where, like on the board?
I'm going to be closer, 2 squares to the. Yeah.
And just as I'm still learning, so who is this?
Me.
Okay, so put number 1 on you. Who is this?
That's me.
Okay, so put 2 on you. Who is this?
Me.
Oh, well, aren't you really lined up in a very predictable way? That's great. Who is this? The red helmet? Who is the little gear?
Me,
The-
purple, 5 purple. Yep.
Yep. And who is this one? Okay. 5, 6.
All nicely in a row.
There
We're
you go.
literally just 1, 2, 6 all the way around the table.
Yeah, that's right. That's why this helps me remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I've got that right. So that's kind of your rotational thing. Also, normally we all roll initiative, but as it is, I'm still like making sure that I have all of your characters are settled and your names and stuff. So you'd roll initiative. The last time I'll just do a rotation around the table initiative, but a sort of quick version of it. So you'll still roll initiative now, but this is a quick way to do initiative if you've got a large group and you don't want to go through it all. But this is the last time we'll do quick initiative. Who's got the highest? Remember, this is, you add your dexterity bonus. So what do you roll over there, Charlie, for example? Let's use an example.
9.
Okay, so what do you roll on your die?
I got 9.
You rolled a 9?
Yeah, that's my total.
And you add your dexterity bonus.
Yeah, it's a 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I
what was
rolled
your
a 6.
Yeah, okay. I'm just sort of describing for people
Yeah,
what
yeah, I
rolls.
rolled a 6,
You roll
and
a
my
6. He look up
dexterity
his
is
dex,
+3.
and he adds 3. So his initiative is 9 as a result. Who's got the highest initiative here? Find
I've
out.
got a total of 20.
Just go and find out amongst yourselves.
I've got like 6 or 5.
8.
Anybody beat 20? Okay. Who's second biggest?
I got 10.
You're the second biggest.
Really?
Nobody beats 10?
Terrible.
Okay, so we'll start with you. We'll rotate clockwise since you're the second one. That determines the direction of it.
Good.
And this is a quick way to kind of know how it goes. Okay. And then my initiative will come somewhere in there as well. Actually, given that you're 10, I'll probably be in the middle right there. Okay.
That's a nest.
Normally I give a little speech that there are many other ways to deal with conflict. You can sort of solve puzzles, but this has got a bit of puzzle solving or a bit of like climbing. So it's always nice to give players who aren't super violent something else to do. So that's another reason why somebody might choose to climb. You'd rather show off your skills than show off your ability to damage things. All right, so you've decided amongst yourselves who is going to start climbing. That's something that you'll do on your turn. We'll move you over to this rack because you'll basically be off the floor. So make sure you've decided amongst yourselves who is doing the climb. You know, the more people doing, you're not going to be able to fight while you climb. You're doing nothing but climbing. Your hands are full. So you're reducing your damage output, but that's why you might have 2. Do you have 3 climb? Do you have 1 climb? That's a bit of your strategic goal here. It'll take a few rounds of successful climbing, and good rolls will advance you faster before you're up on the nest. And all that happens. Righto. Righto. Okay. Last chance for
Will
tactics.
people that
Nobody knows
are
here.
climbing be taking damage?
They might be
If
taking
no one
damage
else
if
is
nobody else. Yeah. So if everybody here chickens out and hides and goes invisible and like basically makes themselves a really hard target, the enemies might decide to shoot at the climbers instead. They'd rather shoot at you down on the floor. But that's where Torg is sort of looking. Right. We've got that. Okay.
What's everyone's AC?
20. Well, AC is armor, right? Yeah. 13.
13,
12.
12.
14.
15.
Oh, you've got a half decent
Oh,
one.
what's yours?
It says 14. Should be the
Yeah.
same as yours.
Yeah, it's like 16 or 17.
Because yeah, it should be the same. Let me check.
I'll just check the original sheet.
Yeah.
14.
Oh, okay. I'll change mine.
It's
You've
14.
got, you've got stud leather armor, and that's your
Not
dexterity.
yet, I
boost
haven't
if you-
bought that
Oh yeah,
yet.
you've got normal leather
Normal
armor,
leather
yeah, and then it'll
armor.
go up by 1 once you buy the stud leather
Yes.
armor. And you see, like here, it's like, oh, they've actually got some leather. They've got a studding machine. You know that if you can only survive this, you'll be able to do some shopping here with your new friends, the kobolds. And you are first. Speaking of you, Archie.
Right. So,
keep in mind, you can do a move, you can do an action in either order. You can do a little bit of moving, and
so
you can
what
then-
are our targets we can actually shoot? Obviously, there's
Sorry,
a
I did
neck.
not put them down here. Yeah, I did not do that.
So the towers are at the end, basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Yep. So up there, those are your targets. Notes for myself. What do you do?
I'm going to head towards the mech.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, because this thing's free and is ready to start running towards you.
Yep.
So you've got a speed of 30, means you can
30.
move 6 squares. Diagonals are fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right, that's right.
Alright.
Now, you can get right up in the face of the mech and make sure that doesn't go past you if by doing what's called a dash. Your action is to actually give yourself a higher movement speed, so you can just get up in this grill, but you can't take an action. You can just kind of get in the way and say, I'm going to do a full defense action, which means like I'm ready to be hit, right? Or if you had a bow or something, you can fire it from where you're at.
I'm thinking I might, because I bought a shield earlier in the last game, so
Yeah.
I might get my shield out to
Yeah,
increase
okay.
my armor class.
Yep.
And then be ready to take
Okay,
damage.
so yeah, you're gonna do a full, full
Yeah.
damage here. Now I'm going to, I'm sometimes will do some more coaching at the beginning, where I'm kind of like a coach to give advice. I'm not overriding what you do because there's tactical considerations, but sometimes if I think that it might help. This is one where this thing is a large creature. It can only squeeze into small spaces by taking some effort, putting itself at risk. If you're trying to like attract this thing's attention, you might want to be out in the open where it has to face you, because you might be an unattractive target if you're kind of wheedled up against the wall. However, it's kind of a safe thing. It seems like you're ready to defend yourself against it, and that means that that you might want to be in a position where it's going to make more of a beeline towards you, because it's sensing whoever has shards, or is basically it just knows that some of you have shards. So you can change
Right,
change that
in
a bit
case,
if you want.
because I was here.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So if I come out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much the same thing, but moved over. Very good. All right, you go there. And full defense. Remember, I
Full
have
defense. Got
So I
my
remember,
shield.
dodge is called. I have disadvantage when hitting you, and unfortunately, you'll have to remember that because I'm a scatterbrain. Okay, so when I have to take a swing at you, make sure you do that.
Yep. So my armor class will go up to 16. with my
No,
shield.
don't worry about that. Oh yeah,
Right?
the shield. Yeah. If your
My
shield is,
shields.
yep, to assume that you have your shield out. That's very true. You are next in the initiative. Myrrh, the unthinkable.
I'm just gonna start shooting.
Right on.
Where's my actual one? Ray Frost.
Yep.
Let's go yellow 2.
Okay, so you're going to do a Ray of Frost. That is against his armor class, which I have right here. So you do a spell attack bonus.
What's that again?
That is your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence. So take this, Intel's 3.
Intel.
Proficiency, so you have plus 5 on this attack. So you can roll a d20, again, for you all, and this is real high-stakes combat. You rolled 13, he adds 5, that total is 18. I'm comparing that to the armor class, which is low. These things are not dodging, they're not very well armored, they're delicate machinery, so they seem to be relatively easy to hit. And roll your damage now.
1d8.
Yeah.
Which one's the 8? This one?
Yep.
Yeah. 8.
Okay, that is really high. Let me see here. Hang on. I had something here about simplified HP. So something, especially when you have a lot of enemies and they're really quite low, instead of keeping track of the hit points separately, I'll basically say either they get wounded or they're dead. So they have a wounded state and they have a dead state. But if you do enough damage to take away all of the hit points they have, how much again did you do?
8.
8. Not quite enough. This thing is wounded. So I'm going to flip it over. Is this one? Okay. Yeah, so that thing is damaged. One more hit of any sort is going to hit it. So it had more than 8 hit points, but not many more. It is bloodied, in other words. It's sort of much more than halfway of its hit points are gone. That was your initiative. Now it is my initiative. Okay. First is, let's see. Okay, so this thing comes stomping up towards you. Can it make it? It's going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. It can move close enough to you, but it's kind of going at an angle. As it goes by, it's going to take a swipe at you, but it seems to be, trying to decide whether it's going to keep going for you or others. This thing, I've changed it up a little bit since you fought it. This thing has somewhat different capabilities than it was before, and I have some multiple attacks that it can do. Here. And I'm using my computer to do this, but I could just be rolling dice. I have monster stats on the computer, but I'm doing it fair and square. Whoops, let me get that out of the way. Compared to your AC, so one arm with a 6 misses you. That means you so low you just dodge out of the way. You know, you're out there and still finding it. So it's like get the shard. It's like focused at you. Do you happen to have a chaos shard on you?
I do.
Yes. Okay. So that's one thing that's focused on. But it doesn't matter. You don't think you'll get out of this. It's just crazed. Just knows that you all have shards and might be able to focus. So it swings at you, but you jump out of the way. It does another attack, but it's starting to think of moving on. Like her eyes, the Dragonborn. She's like looking at you, but she's looking at all of you there. So pretty soon, we'll be asking you whether you want to keep basically attacking it. A 10, a second swing with a 10. Again, you step out of the way. You can say, okay, I'm going to let this thing through and let it go after some other targets, or are you going to like try to keep
I
drawing
would
it?
try and draw its attention.
Okay, yeah. So
Block
it makes a little move. So it decides to use its third attack on you. Well, this time it does a 19. This is with a hammer. It bludgeons you for 5 points of damage. Bam! Finally, it takes a blow. It wants. It has a couple arms that it can still go. It wants to. It's either going to take another hit at you or it can let it through. Do you want to take one more? Ah, okay. So you try to take one more hit. What a tank! With a 22, it's getting better. It's starting to hone in. This time a drill drills into you for 7 points of damage.
Nasty.
All right. Now remember, on your turn, you can get a bonus action, which means that you can give yourself second wind, so you can get some of those back. We have some healing that might be possible. We don't really have a cleric, so that's another thing to consider. You think it has one more shot. Are you going to let it through? Or are you going to take a 5th shot?
No, I'll take it.
You're going to take it? Holy cow! All right.
Got 20 hit points, a second win.
He is the only one with like a half.
Ah, with a 7. So this time you get to read it, and the last strike, it drills into the ground, and you are able to avoid that hit.
All
Very
right.
brave of you.
What are your hit points at like now?
20.
No.
No, like what
you've
they-
Oh,
taken
after
13, 14
I've
points of
taken
damage,
30, so 8.
Okay. So, this one over here, you realize that like it's sort of searching around for you, it's searching for the best possible target. This is kind of blocked and seems to be occupied. The one that kind of sight, I'm going to go through them one at a time, is number 2, which is you. So it's going to try to, well, actually, it wants to go after a favored target, which I'll figure out is either number 2 or number 3. If it's 1 through 3, it's you. It is you. Okay, so it has a shot. It's up high enough that this thing doesn't provide cover, by the way. If you're standing behind somebody or something, you get a +2 to AC. This elevation means it's firing way over the head of this thing because it's way up on this 10-foot platform. So your AC is just naturally as it is. But in this case, these things you discover are hitting you with elemental damage, which means you do saving throws instead of AC. So now you've learned something else about this kind of combat. This is a different kind of combat where most of your defense is going to be saving throw based as things attack you. This thing's attacking AC, but these machines, they're doing spurts of fire and acid and all that other stuff, which generally does saving throws. Zaps, so there's like a huge sparking sound. One of these conduits, it leads through the conduit, and the conduit zaps down at you. So basically, it's a long-distance electrical attack. It is a dexterity saving throw for you to jump out of the way. So roll dexterity saving throw. Again, so you're rolling a d20. Yeah. There's that little box up there.
Yeah.
And what does it say for dex?
10.
10. So, sorry,
Sorry, say
yeah,
8.
it has 2, yeah, so your total is 10. I'm comparing that to basically the DC. This is the save DC for the more powerful it is. Well, it's not enough to dodge, so you take damage from this. You get zapped for 2 electrical damage, just 2 damage. It's technically fire damage in that sense. Maybe electric, I think electric is its own damage type. In any case, you're not immune to electrical or fire, so it doesn't really matter. You are zapped. That was number 1. Let's do yellow number 2. Yellow number 2 also wants to go for you, but it's the one that is wounded. Should I do that? Yes. Again, this is all about making yourself available. You think that this one seems to have, it had its sights on you the whole time. You think this one's kind of sighting you. It's kind of got a grudge against you. This one seemed to be like searching for someone that it couldn't find, but then it picked you randomly. This one has got its eye on you. This time, you are next to somebody, so it blorps an acid splash at you. So the thing about the acid splash, you can damage 2 people at once. So both you and this person next to you, both of you do I believe, a dexterity saving throw, please.
One rolls.
Ooh, 7? Yeah.
Yeah.
9.
9? Okay, not good enough. It's more powerful than the acid. The acid moves faster. Each of you share the same damage. Just makes it faster, so this 1 bit of damage applies to both of you.
That's wrong.
6 points of damage. All right.
This is going well to begin with.
Yeah, it's doing great. This machine is still sort of spinning up, but it'll be dangerous soon. So it's basically coming online. Let's see the higher I roll, the more like, oh, definitely this one, we'll go 3, 2, 1. So this one here is going to try to find a target, scans for a target that it cannot find. So it finds the one target that it can actually have sight on. It might be you, might be 1, 2, or 3. It seems like it's got a line of sight to these 3. Again, I'm sort of showing how, where your position dictates what is dangerous to you. I will choose this randomly. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it goes to
That's me.
you.
Archie.
All right.
He's dodging.
Right in the middle of the.
Dodging.
Walking with your shield, just
All right, I'm going to roll randomly, hopefully something that you're good at and not bad at, because different kinds of saves that we have. Okay.
If you survive this, go hide behind a pole or something.
This is a dexterity saving throw as a
Alright.
burst of fire fans down at you.
3 plus 3 is just ain't gonna cut the
Just
mustard.
ain't gonna cut it. Oh, the dice are trying to kill you tonight. So let's go ahead and do some damage there.
What sort of crit damage was it?
Ooh, just 1. Lucky you. 1 fire damage.
Fire.
You are burned, but it's for only 1 point. This time the dice are a little bit more kind. All right.
I said
All right.
one.
well, we can't.
All right. Number 2 is scanning around. It's going to randomly pick over. It's got its own method for doing it. It's going to try to go for. Who's that back there? Yeah, you. All right. So you are also next to somebody. So it is going to try. It sprays acid, in this arc that goes over your way and is heading towards you. Both of you and you, number 4, you each make a dexterity saving throw as you try to jump out of the way of the acid.
20.
20! Ah, you're fast on your feet. You saw it coming. You tumble out of the way.
8.
8. No, you do not dodge. So you take no damage. You take 2 points of acid damage. We got some real fighting going on now. Anything that didn't fire is spinning up. So all 6 of them are going to be active next time it gets around. But luckily, we're going to go all the way around the table before that happens. And those of you who are climbing, it's time for you to decide. So instead of fighting, if you're going to climb, you need to do that as part of your action, right? So who's decided to climb? Hopefully it wasn't one of you two, because I didn't remind you.
It's me.
Yeah? Just you?
Yep.
Okay, good. But you're going to be good at it, I'm sure. All right, so when it comes to your turn, remember that. Okay, what do you do?
Right, so I want to do, I'm not sure when you do this, but an action surge, so I could, because I was
Sure.
gonna
Yep,
help
action
out,
surge. It
but-
gives you 2 actions, right?
But
It's
this
very unusual
thing's
for.
kind of playing for those 2, and they do not have enough health to handle that, whereas I semi do.
All right.
So I'm gonna use one of my turns to run up and do an action surge.
That's right, yeah, because
And
one
should
of your actions could be to dash, which can make you go very far and make you climb much further or run further, and then you can still have an action to attack with.
Yeah.
Or you can basically move to something close, attack, continue your move, and attack a second thing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. This thing is damaged, so you know that you can get rid of it with 1 more shot, but if you have a huge damage output, you might want to go for a fresh one. So which one are you going to go for there, May?
I'll
Just
think about
remember,
going
it
that
put
one actually.
cheek down.
because
Oh
that-
yeah,
because that
sure,
one's
yeah, so you can
charging
start
for, like,
splitting
these
this up,
2.
yep. So you're number 1, go move
Yeah.
yourself over. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, you can make it up there.
Awesome.
Ah,
Because
see,
they do
that's
not
great.
have enough health
You
to
can do
attack.
2 attacks now. That's the great thing. So that's just a normal move. If you use your action surge, you'll attack it twice.
Awesome, I'll do that then.
Okay.
I'm gonna whip out my bow because it has the highest.
Now bow you do from a distance. If you're
Distance?
shooting at something
Okay.
right next to you, then
Not
it
really
means
bad.
that you've got disadvantage.
Okay.
What you can do is come up short, right?
Okay, I'll
So
do
it's
that.
almost like Archie sort of holding it off there. But this thing, you don't know. The arms look pretty long, so hopefully it'll still be able to split, or at least it'll maybe step closer before it attacks. That's a pretty good tactic. So yeah.
You guys
Pow.
are both fighters, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We both
Mhm.
have 20 max. So.
Nice. Go for it.
I'm gonna just get my bow out. I'm gonna try twice. Let's hope 1 hits.
Yeah.
So that's a 16 plus a what was it? Sorry.
Yeah, it should be right there. There you go.
7. So
16, 7,
20.
21.
no, 23 wasn't it?
23?
16 plus 7.
Yes, 23, of course. Yeah, 23. Even I should have known math. But very good. Now, as it is, as we're teaching each other, feel free to say, oh, I rolled this and I'm adding this. But eventually, to make it faster, pretty soon you can just start saying what the total is. I trust you. You don't have to do the math in front of me, and also can help buy you some more time. 23 is plenty. That's much higher than its AC, so do your damage.
Okay, so it's a 1d8, which is this one, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
mhm.
okay, cool.
Yeah, and help each other out too. This will go faster. You feel free to help each other out.
that one? So 7 plus 3 is so 10.
Nice.
Whoa!
hit.
Wow, a massive hit.
Smack it.
And yeah, this thing is got armor and plating and stuff, but it's not designed to be a fighter, so it's got some pretty delicate parts. You really can't get at her. At some point, you might be able to like kind of, once it gets low, you've kind of stripped away some of the mechanical part. Right now, you're carving off pieces of metal and denting it. You pop like a hydraulic tube, which sprays out, and that means that you're getting at it. It's not through half of his hit points yet, but you've taken a good chunk out of it. Good job. That's your first attack. You can do a second attack if you wish.
Go for an arm.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and aim for one of these arms.
Sure, yeah, I mean, for color, you could always, well, I'll describe it if you're hitting the arm, but the way the stats work is pretty much the same, but I like the mental image of you trying to hit one of the arms. That's
Should I
cool.
rip its armor?
Yeah.
See if we can stop it from smacking on you.
All right, so pew, you hit it like it starts spraying, yeah, so not carving off, you use your sword. Yeah, you basically, you're piercing parts of his hydraulics and piercing his armor. So you try to go for like,
14.
good, as you go for one of the gears that has arm. What is its AC? No, not good enough. Its joints are a little bit, it's a solid built thing. Its AC is higher than that, so that shot did not.
It's higher than ours.
All right.
Oh.
And you'll start seeing, as you start feeling out for enemies, like, well, enemies that have high armor, they might have like a low dexterity, so you might want to make them do a dexterity saving throw. So you see the tactics they start working as you figure out what are your enemies kind of good or bad at defending themselves against.
How would we make it? Like, what would
Mostly experimentation, right? So you can either you can spend an action to say, hey, I'm going to figure out everything I can about the enemy. So your action is to basically do tactics. You might be using your intelligence. Maybe for something like this, it would be investigation, right? So you could, instead of attacking, roll investigation, and if you roll high enough, I'll say, here's all the things it seems to be vulnerable to. Or you can just figure out by experimentation. That is another tactical choice here in the world of D&D. Very good job. Next is you.
Okay, first thing I'm going to do is try and get as hidden as I can.
Sure, yep. You're feeling a bit delicate, that's fine.
Might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if you're next to one of these platforms, because this thing's kind of in the middle of a platform, this thing probably can't hit you. Yeah, you're kind of squeezed up against it. So right now, yeah, almost that one can hit you, and that one sort of can as well, but yeah, you've shielded yourself from several targets.
Yep, okay.
Nothing's guaranteed, and you might figure out which ones are kind of gunning for you especially.
I wonder.
And so then I can still,
Yes, so that was just a move. You're able to do your action.
I am going.
And you can even say, you can do this action halfway through your move. So if you want to have line of sight, hit it with a spell, and then get out of line of sight, you can
Right.
split your move with an action. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to cast Magic Missile.
Oh, great. That always hits. Always a crowd pleaser.
Do I need to say?
Yes,
what
you
I'm
have to
aiming
choose
for?
your 3 targets right away. I might have misspoken either on stream or with another group where, yeah, you don't get to decide after each one hits where to redirect it. They all hit simultaneously.
Okay.
You can send all 3 to one target or split them amongst multiple targets. It's a bit of a gamble.
Yeah.
You know, this one is wounded, so I've already told you, any more damage will get rid of it. So you can say, I'm going to
Yeah.
send 1 here and the other 2 to something
Yes,
else.
I'll definitely send one to yellow 2.
Okay?
And then just looking at
Pew!
where everybody else is, I think I'll send the other one to yellow, or the other 2 to yellow 3.
Oh, right, yeah, across the way. So while it's in
Question.
sight, you'll be able to just
Oh,
barely
okay.
see, yeah. So you pew pew, and it goes very long distance. It's the great thing about Magic Missile. That's very smart, because it's going to be hard to get that one normally. All right, so go ahead and roll your damage against the wounded one, just for show. I mean, I guarantee, but normally I would have a specific amount of hit points that it has, and maybe it has 2, maybe it has 3, in which case you need to roll high, but I'll give you a hint that pretty much anything will do it. The damage is guaranteed. You don't have to roll a d20 to hit. A magic missile always hits its target unless it uses a shield spell. It always does d4 plus 1. So rolled low, but still 2, and that is still enough to take it out. I'm good for my word. So that thing is dead. This thing is gone. You see that that slowly, you don't know it for a while, but it looks like this thing, the ectoplasm is still coursing out of the middle into it, and it's starting to slowly reassemble itself. So these things won't necessarily stay dead. You know it's very important to climb up there and do it. So, but you have time. It's going to be off the field for a while. This is just your fair warning that you think that these things are not going to stay dead, just like a ghost wouldn't.
I'm gonna get smacked around.
Yeah.
Second
Okay.
magic missile, where? Number 3, that's right.
Yep, so yeah, going to 3 and
Okay,
that's
3. It is wounded, right? Not enough to kill it, but do one more. That is enough to
Nice.
destroy it. Good
Taken
job.
2
Pew,
out.
pew. Taken out. Good job. You're next.
Nice. Okay, so I am going to move. I can't do it again.
Did you ever make the good berries? No, you still have good
I
berries.
still have
Without good berries? Good berries in your pocket?
So,
You need to want to revive people who are down.
the first thing that I want to do, if I was to give a potion to somebody, is that an action or a bonus action?
No, it's just called an item. It's a minor item interaction. So you just
Okay.
toss it to them. You know,
So-
if you have to throw it across the room and
I'm going to use
roll
my
it,
my second wind in my turn, next turn.
So I've got a potion of healing, and for my minor item interaction, I was going to toss it to Derek because he's going to be doing some climbing,
Okay,
and he might be in need of it at
Okay.
some stage.
fair enough. Derek, and you now have a. Make sure you cross it off your sheet. Give it to you because I like keeping the paper in the database. Very nice.
And because I'm very squishy, 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
I'm
yeah.
going to sit there.
Okay,
and I'm
fine,
gonna aim
fine.
at round 1.
Have you how much damage did you take?
I've only got 12 total, so
Yeah.
I've taken 2. I've got 10
Taken
left.
2. Okay. So remember, to everybody that hides, you're just giving damage to somebody else. That's okay. All right.
I'm just glad I'm not the one with the lowest HP.
All right, go ahead.
I made the mistake of rolling for my HP.
Oh, that's right.
How much
Uh,
health do you have left?
Like
Okay.
max HP.
Okay.
What do you do?
So my move that I'm going to cast is, sorry, the spell was frostbite.
Okay.
Sorry, no, produce flame. So I can do a bonus action to produce flame in my hand,
Yeah.
and I'm going to fling it.
Right on. Okay. What is your target?
It's brown 1,
Okay. Yep. Going up to round 1.
and this one I believe is an attack. that I'm
Now,
gonna do.
because of the angle here, this thing has effectively got cover. So even though they seem to be quite delicate, when you're firing at certain angles from it, it has a +2 to AC. If you're standing up on the platform, it would not have this bonus. Or if you had a line of sight, but I'm picturing the geometry of it. Yeah.
So what I was doing there was because I could see straight at it. So
Yeah.
I actually want to be. I don't want to use all my movement then.
Okay.
I actually just wanted to be able to see straight at it, but have cover from those. I'll
Okay.
move
Yeah.
afterwards.
Let's say you move. You kind of zigzag. You move away a bit just so it doesn't have cover anymore, and then you come back into place. That's fine. But yeah, keep that in mind that I'll start enforcing that as well. If you're at a very sharp angle, you're gonna have a hard time getting at it because of cover. Same reason it can't fire at you. If you're next to it, same problem the other way. Go ahead and do your thing.
Cool.
It's against this
Okay,
armor
so-
class, I believe.
Produce flame. I've got to.
Is it a ranged spell attack?
It is, yeah, 30 feet.
Yeah. So remember, it's a ranged spell attack bonus. So it's not like firing a bow. You actually use your magic attribute to determine your plus on this one.
Yes, which spell attack bonus is +5. For
Okay. +5 against this thing. Let's hope.
23.
23, not a problem. You do your damage against it. Let's see if you can get it down in one hit.
1d8. 5.
5. This thing is wounded but not dead. Or not destroyed. Good. You've weakened it. Good job.
And then I'll move a little bit more into cover.
Yeah, you can go move yourself there. Yeah, either of those 2 squares is fine. Meanwhile,
I'm going straight for the nest.
yes, you have started climbing. All right.
Whereabouts
And
is it?
are you going to use your acrobatics, Darrican, or are you going to use your
Yeah,
athletics?
I'm gonna use my acrobatics. If I can, because I don't know where it is, I would like to use my bonus action to like dash there.
Ah, very
So, like,
good.
to
Yes.
dash there and then
very
also
fair.
climb up.
Right, so what I'm going to do, this is like basically a skill check, right? So there's a DC, but if you overkill on the DC, you would be able to progress 2 notches. Let me give me your token, your number for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're starting here, right? So if you just basically succeed without the special thing you said, you might advance 1. If you really roll high, you might advance 2. But you're actually going to do 2 climbs in a row. You're going to have your climb speed is doubled. So your minimum success is going to be 2, as long as you don't fuck it up completely. So hang on. You're going to be using your acrobatics. This is something where usually athletics is for climbing. So I'm going to be very clear. Athletics is if you're moving through space is almost always athletics. However, I wanted to build something where people who are good at one or the other each have a chance. This is justifiable as acrobatics because you're actually getting on crates like swinging from chain to chain. You're doing like some trapeze shit, going around and catching that stuff. So imagine him sort of just flying back and forth Spider-Man style above you, whereas one of you is doing athletics, you just be muscling your way up the thing. Okay, so this is an acrobatics check. You roll a d20, add your acrobatics, and I know what the DC is.
That's 11.
Okay, I said I know the DC is actually lied. Look that up. I don't think 11 is going to be enough.
You jinxed me there, Matthew.
All right. However, you are dashing, so you now basically the second half of your move you get to roll again. So you've lost the ability, you've lost the benefit of your dash, but you keep on going for your second half.
Okay. There's a 23.
Okay.
22, sorry. That's a 17 plus 7. So yeah, 23.
Yep, fantastic. Okay.
No,
That's
24. 24.
24. Very good. You managed to advance. Oh, 24. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
24.
You overkilled it, I think. Let me check that.
Climb
Oh,
too
yeah.
high and then just move back
Yeah.
straight, so
So the first
Okay,
one,
just
you just
hold
biff
this
it.
up
Like
to
you
the
just
ceiling.
jumped and like you didn't realize the thing was greasy. It slipped through your hands, you know, just sort of
Testing
bad luck,
puzzle.
basically. This time, okay, you look for a non-greasy chain. You do that jump, and this time you just really master it. So you still advance by 2 because you got such a high number. All right, very good.
Parkour.
Yeah, exactly. Now you are you're about 10 feet. So the more climbs you do, you're higher up off the ground. If you fail too badly, you actually fall, and you'll take damage from falling.
okay.
So keep that in mind. And this is where.
Is this
Can I
where you
use
have
that?
to get to?
Yeah, not necessarily. I won't give away how far you have to go.
Can I use that bonus action again, or is that?
No,
'cause I
so
know it's
use
just a
use
skill.
your bonus action to dash, and that means that you're able to. Your action was. Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
I meant next turn.
Oh, I see. No, see, you have cunning action. You're now level 2 rogue.
Yes.
So the nice thing is that your movement basically is to do this acrobatic stuff. It's really your action and your movement together. So yeah, I gave it to you because you have cunning action. I gave you double, but I can't give you double yet again. So yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay,
this
cool.
is we're kind of combining. It's like a skill challenge. It's
So
kind of a
no more
combination
bonus
action.
action.
Yeah, yeah. So you've used your bonus action because that's what cunning action does. It allows you to use
Yeah.
your dash in situations that most people can't. Next is you.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to use my second wind.
Good idea.
Get some
now
hit
this
points
D-roll,
back.
so he rolls a
So one
D10
D10
plus
plus
2, because that's your level. All right, 4. Oh, not as helpful as we'd help.
Still better than nothing.
Still better than nothing.
Up to 11.
What's
Okay.
11? That's not bad.
So, I guess the question now is: is the dodge? If my role here is to just continue to absorb.
Yeah, see, it's a tactic.
Absorb it.
Or you basically like survive
Or can I
while the
just-
climber does the job,
just like,
or
do
it's
I
like,
get
or
some-
do you try to do damage
Do I get
because?
some extra AC or something? If
Ah,
I,
you know, it
if
has
I dodge it?
disadvantage. I forgot to apply disadvantage last time.
Ah.
Right? So that dodge, actually, every strike that it gave you was disadvantage. So let's say this time you get to attack, but its next attack, I will pretend that you're dodging. So
Okay, so we'll attack. And
I would say
benefit
attack because I'm
from
going to
dodge.
give you the benefit of dodge because
Alright.
I blew it, and
Alright,
frankly,
so
you
using
blew it as
my
well.
my long sword, so I'll attack.
Yeah, all right.
That's not going to do.
Oh,
it.
no,
So,
no, yeah.
That's 6 in total.
Yeah, she's like, get the shard, and she like raises an arm and clangs, so like basically parries your blow really easily. The big thick part of the arm that she operates, she seems to be into your tactics. So no progress there against the mech that's so dangerous. Next is you.
Oh, where am I? What is the next target?
They just reappear.
Where
Do you have a long distance weapon?
Sorry?
Do you have a long distance weapon?
I'm a wizard. Of course I have. I'm a wizard.
I thought you were a
wizard,
wizard.
I just
like
can't
that.
Yeah, I'm just looking
Wizards,
at.
you know,
Oh,
like
yeah,
that's
wizards.
typical,
I'm
typical
just-
wizard
yeah,
attitude.
Typical wizard.
I'm just thinking.
Expect we know what it is.
You're
Of
gonna take
course
it all
I can
out?
fire at a distance.
Before it has a go. Take out this one before it has a go because it's already injured.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I will step back here.
Yep. So yeah, it definitely has cover from that distance.
And that's fine.
Okay, fine.
And I'll use my Ray of Frost again.
All right, Ray of Frost. So it's got slightly elevated AC because the platform is shielding some of it, but you're pretty confident because if you got a good plus. So another ranged spell attack. Try to roll high. Roll to 4. Plus, plus, plus.
Dice them up with
9. No, 9 is not enough.
How about initiative? You
It goes over the machine.
then-
Yeah, but it's just
That's
a
it.
badly aimed
Like
shot. It wasn't even because of the
crazy.
cover. It was just a
I
badly
don't
aimed
suppose
shot.
that, it hits the roof and spatters down and it's like one slightly
Afraid
hits
not.
it.
Afraid not. Nope. Okay, my turn again. This drone here. Well, this mech has only a couple targets to fire at, so it really has no choice but to focus its fire on the 2 that are here. Unless there's somebody. Is there anybody nearby? Well, no. We already established you're pretty squishy. Yeah, nobody else is really close enough to sort of step in.
Two
So
fighters.
let's see how this
You're the
goes.
one
That's
behind
right.
them.
Okay.
Oh, we can do this
So you
as
got to
a
roll with
shield.
disadvantage against me.
Yes,
Remind
that's
me
right.
this
When you
time.
attack us, can you go like, okay, I'm gonna attack it like dodge? Can we do dodging it, or is that
Oh,
more? of
it
a
takes an
thing?
action. So instead of attacking, you dodge. So
Okay.
when it's your turn, say I dodge, and I'm just going to basically avoid it.
Okay.
All right. So this with let's try this out right away. So now you know the 5 attacks that it's got. I'm going to, it's an arm with disadvantage against you. Is a 13. And your armor class?
Is 16.
Ooh, 16, okay, good. Yeah, so you have that shield, bam, this one. Okay, because it's like alternates between the two of you. It's gonna go towards you. This time it has no disadvantage and an arm comes towards you, May. With a 12.
I have AC of 14.
AC of 14, yes, fast on your feet. This one comes against you. This is below number 3, again with disadvantage because you're dodging. I'm dodging last time. A 12.
Nice.
So you dodge out of the way.
Excellent.
You've got the 4th attack is coming towards you. It's a 16.
Yup.
Ah, that time it hits you. You are hammered by its hammer for 5 points of damage. Splat. It's got a 5th arm. It's just if it's odd, it's you. It's even, it goes after you. With disadvantage, which is lucky. Luckily, yeah, she doesn't seem to realize, or she's just so crazed that she's having a harder time hitting you. Your shield is up, and, ooh, I dropped a very high number. I'm taking the lower of the 2 numbers because disadvantage means the result is 7, which is fine. You block it with your shield, let's say. You have absorbed a lot. Only 1 dose of damage from a quite dangerous creature. Now we're going around with our favorite machines that are doing so well. We've got, let's see, this here. Well, can't see you. Who's it looking for? It's going to go for you. But you have cover because, and by the way, this thing has 10-foot long arms. So the reason that I was attacking is good. It's actually nice because it can attack you without stepping closer to you, so you can keep firing your bow. It's actually pretty convenient when you think about it. Very considerate when you think about it. But it can extend its arm to the 10-foot range that it goes. Also, you know, this thing threatens the area around it. If you leave its range, it gets a free attack against you, so you're kind of stuck with it. And it's got a 10-foot range you've now learned. We'll get to that later. It is going to fire at you, but because of that cover, you have a +2 to your AC. And this time, luckily, it does actually fire something, so the cover actually matters. This thing has got like a little bit of it's like a bolt gun. It's a studded armor machine, and it fires armor studs at you. So it's going to try to make an attack against you.
I can't wait to buy a shield and better armor like you do.
Ooh, this is with the 17, but you have an improved AC.
Of 16.
Ah, but your AC is 16?
Oh,
Oh, no,
AC
your
14
improved
plus
AC is 16. I'm
Yeah.
afraid that it hits you.
Yeah.
All right. 3 points of damage against you.
I'm down to 6.
All right. Ugh, I'm bloody.
Second wind.
That was number 1. Yeah, second wind will be your friend.
Oh, yes.
Yellow 2 and 3 are thankfully dead.
Those
We
are
have
potions.
brown number 1. Okay, it's going to try to fire at you. Now, you've got some cover there. Was that your intention? Did I say that it wouldn't be able to fire at you? Where were you before?
I was close.
Yeah, you were close,
Yeah.
and you stepped back to fire?
Yeah.
You might have, I think what you might have done is step back in, yeah. If you thought you were in danger, you probably would have used the rest of your thing. So it can't find you. You can tell that it's sort of like searching around where your area is. So it whirls around and finds another target. This one over here has got some cover because you're sort of back here. These 2 are a possibility. Even you're a possibility. Okay, so I'll say 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I'll re-roll if it's not. Oh, here we go. 1. It's going to go for you over here. Sorry, but number 2. I'm not sorry. Number 2. Number 1 is going, but drawing this one, you have cover as well. So your AC is slightly elevated as a result of this. So you have a +2 on your AC. This one also some sort of like stitching machine that is firing, that's firing some needles at you. And here we go. Oh, I'm afraid that's 21 against your AC. Cover or no, that is going to be a
No way,
problem.
no way.
Squishy.
Ah, but I rolled very low. You take 2 points of damage. Where are you at? What's your total? How are you doing?
Anyone
Keep
real
your
low
Now,
on health?
4.
at 4. Okay.
Do
Time
you
to
have like a potion or something?
Got little hardy rings. Oh my god, that's
I have a
cool.
healing potion.
Blimey, I'm here.
Yeah, well, you can toss it, but from here it definitely will be a sort of like a dexterity move of yours to see if you can get it
Smash all
into.
over the floor.
Yeah.
I don't know what that.
Dexterity of yours and of your whoever's catching it has to do
Yeah.
it.
Other ways
So
of
bad
doing
it
it.
just knocks it
You're
out.
not too far from
Can
me.
you just
Splatters
run to the
on
bottom
the
of it,
neck
open
and
up his
heals.
mouth,
You
and
can throw me some berries.
pour it down.
Okay, brown number 2 is going to go for you, but it's got some cover because you're right up against a mech. So it seems to be they're all firing bolts right now. It's got cover. Fortunately, it's firing some bolts. Oh, it rolled a 20. That means I roll my damage twice.
Oh,
Oh, how much are you down to?
Ooh.
11.
Okay.
That's 3. And so I'm rolling the dice twice, but I'm only adding this modifier once. So that's 5 points of damage against you. Not bad for a crit. So critical means all of the dice that you roll get rolled twice. With sneak attack, ooh,
If it's
sweet.
6, you're out. If it's anything but a 6, you're fine.
All right, so that was brown number 2. Last is brown number 3. It
Some new
knows.
scars at the end of this battle to add to
Okay, so yeah, it's scanning around for a random target. It can't see its normal target, so we'll just go ahead and split it up amongst the ones that it can see. Can't see you. I'd say this one over here, it really can't see you. So I think it's going to have to split between the two of you. Can't see you. See what it's like, you know? Like if you've got a lot of hit points and you're hiding, it's like you've got other
We both have the
people.
exact same health right now.
All right.
You guys knew what you were getting
I
into.
know. Okay, odd is you. Even goes for you.
Right.
This is a zap. No, it's a puff of poison gas.
Ooh.
That is a Constitution saving throw.
Okay,
How
that's
good is your
okay.
Constitution?
+4.
Oh, okay.
16.
Yes, you
Oh.
managed to not get hurt by this
Finally.
poison. You know, you sort of hold your breath enough that you're able to resist that. Good for you.
Dice just want you to hurt, not
Okay, I'm all done. Let's go around and kill these things.
Righty, I had a plan, but I've got. Oh,
Second
second
wind.
wind. Second wind. That's what I was gonna do. That's what I was
That's a
gonna do.
bonus action, so you can do second wind on top of everything else. You're gonna
Yep.
roll a D10.
Yep.
That one with the funny irregular faces, and you're gonna add 2 because you're a level 2 fighter.
Okay. 8, so 10.
Ooh, all
nice.
right, that's a
So
fortunate
I'm
one.
at 16 now.
All right, all right.
That's as good as you can. No, almost as good as you can.
Yeah. Rolled 8 out of 10.
Okay, so
Run.
I think what's big
Run.
right now?
There's good berries.
I'm pretty sure the big monster in the middle that we can't run away from is going to be the biggest problem.
And you know, if you move away from it, it gets a free attack. So it can only do it
Yeah.
once. It uses what's called
Put
a
an
reaction,
arrow.
which only gets
Put
one
an
of.
arrow.
Like I could have hit this one, but that wouldn't really. Like that one's more important. Like you guys can hit that with 1 or 2, and that one's not going to stop. Really.
All right, gotta go. Gotta decide.
Yeah, I'm gonna go the big and nasty.
Okay, go for the mech. All right.
Yep. Okay. Where's my bow again? Oh, so that's a 10.
Oh, a 10 is not good enough. No, you fire your bow, but it basically it lowers itself and it goes over. It's pretty fast on its feet. It's next for you.
I should have dodged. Thinking about it.
I think I've got 2 options, but I think I'm going to risk it.
All right, Dal. Yes.
So I'm going to just travel over here,
Yeah.
or this one, and I'm going to shoot my magic missile again.
Okay, sure. Spending those spells, but this seems to call for it. You're in a bit of a dire strait. So again, yeah, using some precious level 1 spell slots because the fight still looks pretty dodgy. You know, so one of those tactical decisions that you learn to make.
Yep. So I'm going to shoot it at yellow 1 and brown 3.
Okay, so which one gets 2 bolts and which one gets 1 bolt?
2 to yellow
Okay.
and
Yep.
1 to brown.
Okay, so you start off here, yes? We want to actually
was-
measure things, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So after this, you'll be able to move 1, 2, and you can end
Yeah.
up there if you wish.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
great.
That's if you want to. Otherwise, you might end up taking it. So do your first magic missile.
3
3, and that was against which one?
against yellow.
Okay. As promised, it is wounded. Let's see if you can take it out.
3.
That was against yellow?
Yep.
Yep, that takes it out. Again, some simplified HP to keep it fast. I'm not microtransacting HP. I'm just basically has a wounded state and a dead state. You can kill it all if you do enough damage. A bolt towards that one.
2.
Okay, 2, but it's still wounded. All right.
And then I'm going to go back here.
All right, whoop, back in you go. You,
Okay.
Gale.
So I'm going to
Pop out here.
All right.
Oh, wait. 5, 6. I'm going to pop out here.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to go for round 3.
Okay.
bonus action cast the flame in my hand.
Yep.
And then fling it.
Fling it, all right. All you have to do is hit it. See, it has no special cover. You're far enough away.
Oh.
Natural 20.
Oh, yes. All right. Fantastic.
Leap across and get the other one
Wow.
as well.
Oh,
That
that's
means I
true.
roll my damage twice.
Yep.
so it
Yeah,
was
it's
8
roll your damage.
anyway.
Yeah, that's much more than enough to cook it. Yeah, okay, well, overkill is always a nice spectacular thing. You do flame, and yeah, there's some sort of fuel tank that it's hooked up to. The fuel tank explodes.
Maybe it can't regenerate or something?
Yeah, so I'd say that keep that in mind. That even though these things are slowly reassembling, keep that one in mind. That one's so damaged that it's not going to be able to come back. As a matter of fact, good point. Yeah, that one can't come back.
And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.
All right, yep, okay. Selectively available to some enemies. That's very nice of you. Okay. You.
From my position, I would like to view the area to where the kobolds are.
Yeah.
The
The
ones
kobolds,
that are
again,
still with
remember, they're
us.
doing their own little fights. Some of them are like trying to, there might be an extra machine I haven't noticed here. They're trying to disassemble that's shocked a couple of them. So they're doing their part, but go ahead.
And I would like to instruct them to go towards the machine in the middle, because they know how they've constructed it, they know how to work it. They might be able to like just swarm and be like, oh, there's just a turn off button here.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what I would like to do.
Okay.
If I need to
But there's the
roll.
pressure point in the armor.
Yeah.
Smack it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good idea. What I'm going to do is say it's because of your cunning action you can do this. Because you can dash, so normally to influence the battle you have to use an action, right? I know speaking is a free action, but to speak carefully and to speak long enough to actually influence the kobolds might take all of the 6 seconds that you have.
Yeah.
But you're going to speak for a few seconds, that's your action, it might work or not. But because you've got that cunning action, you are going to be able to still do an acrobatics to try to advance. So you get the best of both worlds thanks to your cunning action.
Yep.
So this is a pretty interesting choice. I don't think we've done this particular strategy before, and we'll see how it goes. First, are you going to try to do the kobolds, or are you going to try to move a little bit before you talk to the kobolds?
Kobolds first.
Okay, yeah, all right. So, trying to talk to the kobolds, counting on success. So this is persuasion, deception, or intimidation. Each one has different outcomes.
Perception.
Okay, hang on, let me get my DC out here, because this is one of those creative things.
Persuasion?
Deception?
Persuasion, they're all +2, but perception's +3, so.
Yeah, okay, deception, you got a better chance. Yeah, this is kind of a, like, it's fine. You're doing your best. It'll be super effective if you do it correctly. Let me look up what DC you should be getting. Is there anything that you mentioned that you want to get an extra +1 in this roll? You're mentioning something in particular that will especially motivate them? Or like, how do you say it? You try to convince me you get an extra +1 on this.
I would definitely like to point and just be like, attack, or what's its weakness? Like, we need take it down. Take it down. It's hurting us. You're on our team.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
On our team.
Yeah.
I like that.
You're on
Okay.
our
So
team,
I
yeah.
said that gives you +1. So I'll give you +1 on top of everything else. Doing your.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, doing your.
Oh no.
Oh no.
So I get 6 on that.
6. Oh, unfortunately not. Yeah, the power of your personality up there is not strong enough. There's too much noise. Usually, if you roll really low, I say, oh, you just had bad luck. So just the sound is so loud that the kobolds are too occupied. You're up too high. Your voice just can't carry. Bad luck. You can now do an acrobatics check to see if you can advance and get closer to the nest.
Okay. 13.
13, that is enough to advance, just enough. You are now balancing on a beam. One more move and you will be in the nest itself. So there's a sort of a thin beam that you're now sort of walking foot over foot onto, and you'll be able to drop into the nest. You can even see from here that you see like a kobold leg, like sort of jerking, and like a tip of a wing. You think that BB is lying on his back, and you just hear he sort of seems to be spasming. You can see there's a glow of machinery in there. You know that once you get in this machine, it seems to be seething with power, both ghostly power and also some sort of other energy. And you can just see there's a whole bunch of like buttons and dials and switches. So you start, okay, I'm gonna have to get ready for a little bit of mechanical adventure on this. It looks like very well fortified. You're not sure if damage is gonna do it or if you're gonna have to start hitting dials. So you've gotten a little closer. One more will make it. That means everybody has to survive for at least one more round. Go Archie.
Okay, so I think I'm going to carry on with the same strategy, which is to just dodge.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Right,
like come
so
at me and
that,
just dodge.
I
Yeah.
can,
I think that's
basically
very
absorb
viable.
the-
Yeah,
absorb the
you know
damage,
that we're going to succeed here
rather than
eventually.
trying to hit it and leave it to others to
Do you want to
do the
move
damage.
to this side of the pillar so you're not being targeted by the things, by the machines?
No, if he moves, he'll get disadvantage.
Can you move around?
Well,
it
no.
without-
Yeah. So that's a very good question. So as long as you're not leaving his radius, yeah, you can use all of your movement to reposition yourself. It's a smart thing to do. I think it's a very good idea because then you're already doing heroic work by distracting this thing, and your dodge doesn't help you against like dodging at it. So dodge is a like armor class booster disadvantage. I think it gives you advantage on dexterity saving throws, but some of these things are hitting you with poison, so it might be smart to try to not
So
be
like
in
moving
sight.
over towards round 2.
So if we moved up here,
Mm-hmm.
what are you saying?
No,
Well,
next to
I
the
was thinking going over here.
Yeah,
So
if you
you're
circle
under-
you kind of warily
Okay, I'm with
circle
you, 'cause-
around. You're like,
yes.
that's excuse
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
May, and go over this way, and that way number 2 can't hit
It
you.
can't
Yeah.
hit you at all.
And
It was-
you'll have blockage from number 1 too.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the way.
Yeah, good, okay.
Okay.
Smart, that's smart.
And
Very
I'm,
good.
I'm near number 2, so number 2 can hit.
Yeah, even better, that gives you shield, yeah.
All right.
Okay, great. Good tactics. See, this is D&D. Just to pause for a second. So this is D&D as war game, right? D&D is really many games in one. And when I do a combat like this, I play it a bit like what I call Warhammer mode, where I give myself a very precise number of points. Like I have a formula for the DMG, and something that WotC published, a more sophisticated thing. It's the thing they did in I think Xanathar's or Tasha's, where I very precisely balance the combat, and then I go at you as hard as I can. Like usually, of course, I'm cheering you on, but as far as like my tactics, I'm really trying to kill you because it's just the only fair way to do it. But I have a limited number of points. I can't give you an arbitrary number of monsters. So it's so exciting to me to see you guys using tactics because there's a little bit of an edge can make you survive or not survive, and I think you're doing very well. Okay,
Alright.
so there you go. You circle around. You didn't leave the arm radius, so it doesn't get a free attack against you. You now can do dodge, and you're sort of waving your arm. You can additionally, like I said before, if you're a bit worried about May going down, you can, and you're more fortified, you can try to attract more attacks. Is that what you're going to try to do? Do you want to like?
Well, no, you've got lots of hit points
I've
now.
got 16
I'm wondering
left,
though,
yeah.
Okay.
I haven't used my action surge.
Ah, no, you have not.
Can I continue to dodge and use an action surge to?
Yes, you can. So
have
one
a
action
bang
is to
at it?
dodge, yeah, and the other action is
Is
to
to-
attack.
to
Very
bang
good.
at it.
Yes.
Alright.
Yes.
So I will have an attack at
All
it
right.
with my longsword.
Yeah, bracing yourself well, and now going into it.
So that's 20 in total.
Okay, that's high enough. You get through its armor. Let's see if you can
1d8
take it
plus
down.
2. That's
At
7.
least halfway down.
7.
7 damage. Okay, it is now weakened, so you know you're through more than half of its hit points at this point. You've taken it down where it's leaking oil, its armor starting to fall off, and yeah, you're actually getting to the point where actually the person inside, she's actually getting exposed, but you have to kill her. We'll worry about that later on. Okay, good job. What do you do?
Right, I just need a bit of clarity on this spell. Ice Knife.
Ice knife, yeah.
So, with the dex save, is that after I hit? I'm not.
Yeah, one creature, yeah, ranged spell attacks, we'll do that first. Hit or miss, yeah, then each creature within 5 feet must succeed in dexterity save. So what are you trying to hit? Like the
So
neck?
I was wondering if could I aim my ice knife like over here and we just miss that?
Unfortunately not, yeah, the
No.
creature, yeah. So ice knife is an unusual one that it damages everything around it, but it's creature, not enemy. So yeah, this would be bad
Yeah.
because it would hit
It'd
your
hit- okay.
friend.
Cool.
Do you also have sculpt spells though?
No. Oh wait, yeah,
That's
I
a good
do.
point.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
spells,
sculpt
yeah.
spells, evocation. I think that's for
That's-
area attacks though.
Does that make it so you can change a spell to kind of what you
Yeah,
want?
let's stay away from it for now.
Yeah.
We'll look at that later on
That's-
because I think you do mention something very smart. There's a way, but I
Yeah.
think that's just area attacks, and that's actually this is like it. I'm not sure if it applies here. Well, let's pick a different attack. I'd say.
Yeah, so I'll just keep going with my what was I doing? Ray Frost? Yeah.
Ray of Frost. Okay, yeah.
And I'm actually gonna move
Now, just coaching. So, how many spell slots do you have right now? Like level
I
1
have-
spell slots.
all of them.
All of them.
I
So,
have
do you have
these-
anything else that can burn a spell slot that's not Ice Knife that you think because we have people burning spell slots. This fight is still kind of borderline.
No, so I've only got ice knife as an attacking.
Oh, because you're very ice themed. I see. Interesting.
I do have magic missile, but I don't have that one.
Oh, I see.
So
okay.
I have like
Interesting.
all my defensive ones. So I have Find Familiar,
Yeah.
Sleep, Mage Armor, and Shield.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then I have my ice knife.
Tell you what, again, because I like to. This is your first real tactical battle, and this is something that you're just getting to know each other. That's only within 5 feet. Let's say that, and you now know that because the thing's arm is so long, it can't attack you. Let's say you move in here, you do the attack, and you step over here. So now the ice knife wouldn't hit Archie. So you come in, attack, you continue to move because that's more than 6. So that's 6 squares will get you there. Let's say, right? So having coordinated about that, you're like, stay away from the thing I'm about to hit with ice knife. And you're like, what do? I hit it. I move away. Most creatures would get a free shot at you because you're stepping away, but you know this thing's arms are so long that it's still you're still within its threat
Still within
range.
the engagement.
Yeah, so it can still get you. The same reason that you can hit it from 5 feet away
Yep.
and it can hit you. Sound smart?
Yep.
Okay, now you can use Ice
Awesome.
Knife.
So I move myself out here,
Yeah.
and so I just roll, and then
Yes. Ah.
oh, that's bad. What is it? 7.
Oh no. After all that, maybe we should have rolled before we spent all the time discussing it. That's okay.
Too bad.
That does not work. The dice are not being friendly to you. Your Ice Knife, it explodes in a part that is just well armored against
But I
these.
still do the frost damage,
Got
right?
it here.
Oh, okay, yes. Let me read it again.
Yeah. So it says hit or miss, target takes.
Oh, I see. On hit, takes 1d10. Hit or miss, the shard then explodes. The target and each creature within 5 feet must succeed in dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 cold damage. So, yeah, let's now this dexterity saving throw. I'm going to roll this openly because nobody seems to trust a DM when I roll a saving throw behind the screen. I'm not going to tell you what his bonus is. What is your spell DC? So this is your
Spell save DC.
spell save DC.
13.
Very good. Okay, so I know what its plus is. It tries to jump out of the way. 12 is enough. You have 13?
Yeah.
13 is enough. Barely enough, but it jumps out of the way. Not quite. This is where spell DC, every point matters, but that's okay. It was a good try. All right, yes, we're back to it. This mech, again, has just a few targets. Does anybody want to try to attract it? Like anybody who's hiding, who wants to take some of these blows? I'm doubting it. Okay. Next thing, Archie, are you going to, or either of you, going to try to take more of these 5 hits, or are you going to try to split them up pretty much evenly? This is sort of a light form of tank. This is
I've
sort
got
of
6
a house
I'll
rule
take
that I'm doing here.
like 3.
Yeah? So you try to get 3?
3 or 4? What do you think?
Yeah, let's commit
Has
now.
he
Let's
got
not see
5
how we
in
go.
total?
You've got 5 in total.
What do you think you can take?
I've got disadvantage. It's got
Yeah, it's got
disadvantage
disadvantage,
against me, so
Mhm.
I'll take 2.
Okay, you take 2.
3.
All right, and you take 3. So we'll start with you. No disadvantage against you. Arm number 1 is a 19. You get drilled for 4 points of damage.
Okay, I'm down to 12.
Arm number 2 has got disadvantage because you're dodging. It is a 6 because your shield is up, so that is not a problem. Arm number 3, you're going to go. Oh, a 20.
Oh, no.
A little saw cuts you across the middle for 3 points of damage.
That's not too bad, though.
I have a 9.
Okay, all right. Number 4, it has disadvantage because you are dodging with your shield up. 6, not a problem. The 5th one going for you. 23.
I'm okay, I've got 9 left.
good it's not the other way around.
6
eh?
points of damage. You get hammered for 6. Man, you are just taking it. Very heroic, though. All right, it has done a lot of
We're running
damage.
out, we're running out.
Okay.
If I do die, by the way, I have a healing potion on my belt. Please do.
Maybe you should use that on your turn.
Here's a note to give to my parents.
Wait till you die.
Number
Use it
1,
now.
Enough.
the wounded one is going to try to hit here on number 1. Well, that's no. It is good. It has a target that it likes to hit. Where is that target? Oh no, it likes you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to go for you.
I was just about to say, I moved in the middle for a reason.
Oh, good for you. It has a blort of poison gas, Constitution saving throw there, wizard.
Constitution.
This ghost might know
Oh,
that you're not
5.
very good at it.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
that's good.
You're not doing well.
All right, you take.
Dice hate us.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
8
rough.
points of
Oh, I
damage.
would've
The
died.
dice
Hit me.
do hate you. 8 points of damage against you.
Oh,
Poison
what is that?
damage.
14, 6.
All right. Number 2. It's seeking a target that it cannot find, so it's going to find a random target that it can reach. It can see you. Yeah? You can try to wave it in? Yep. Okay, so let's say that you try to attract its attention. Let's say, unless, no. I'm going to have you take that hit. All right, so it goes for you. I'm going to roll randomly what it's going to try to do. I have so many different kinds of attack. I want to use them all. Okay.
I regret this already.
This one, it tries to bathe you in fire. This is a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no. It's not your best
8
skill,
plus
eh?
19.
Hey! Alright, you dodged all the way.
A good
No
roll.
damage against you.
Just
Finally,
the
a
hair
good
on your
roll.
arms, otherwise you're all good.
Okay, I'm done. This thing is on the verge of reforming itself. So I'm going to, because a lot of time has passed since the first one to die, I'm just going to say that's a danger of reforming. But we're getting close to the final confrontation with the machine.
Climb.
And I'm all
Yep.
done. You.
Right, so I'm taking my healing potion,
All right.
which is 2d4s plus 2 HP.
Go ahead and roll that now. Unfortunately, that is an action, and you've already used your action surge.
Oh,
So
Sorry.
damn.
it takes an action to drink a
I was
potion.
going to do that and
so
then dodge.
You can't.
Roll well.
Stay
What would
away
be
from
better,
it.
dodging it or?
Yeah, so you can move, but it will get a free shot against one of you as you move away.
Oh,
So
that's
you're
true.
kind of sticky.
I'll dodge. I'll sorry, I'll take
Yep.
the
Drink
potion.
and then just hope for the
So
best.
it's 2d4. Does that mean I take the?
Just roll once.
Okay.
Roll again. That's 2. You're right.
Ooh.
The score is 6 plus another 2.
So
8.
8.
Ah, good. Ah, that's
Not
all
too
right.
And I'm at 11.
You.
Okay.
Oh, you can move if you like, but if you move too far, you'll get attacked. So I'm assuming you're staying there.
I am going to step out to here,
All right.
and I am going to cast Ray of Frost at Brown.
Okay, good. Try to get past this armor. I'd say you're far enough away. It does not have cover. That's nice. So roll your ranged spell attack bonus.
Okay. 15.
15 is good. You take it out. Bam. So frozen.
done.
Your ice coats it. Yeah, like this whole the shorting sound. The gears grind to a stop, and it is disabled.
And then I'm just going to go back and hide.
All right.
50 gold pieces.
All right, Gail. What you gonna do?
I am going to try Ice Knife at the mech.
Okay, try that.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
Ice Knife as well.
Oh, all right. Ice knife buddies.
22.
Oh yeah, 22. It hits with the ice knife. Go ahead and do whatever the initial damage is.
1d10.
Whew.
It's a big damage.
Yeah, that hits hard. That's a nice one.
Yeah.
9.
Oh, 9. It is falling apart, but still going.
And then
Try to
needs
finish it
make
off, yeah.
a saving throw.
Yep, it does a saving throw. So as the shattering of the ice knife explodes, it's going to do a dexterity saving throw. Ah, I'm afraid it saves with that.
I thought it was supposed to be bad at dexterity.
I know, well,
Maybe
the dice are being very friendly towards it. And then, of course, it shatters in a radius, but because nobody's within 5 feet, the ice knife harmless at that distance.
Okay, I'm going
Okay,
straight
so,
for
yeah.
the tower.
Yeah, this is acrobatics, you're balancing. If you don't totally beef it, you're going to be in there with it.
Oh, come on. Oh, okay, 21.
Woo! All right, yes, you managed to get in there very easily. You're now in the nest itself. As you go in, so as you get as you're approaching, this thing is starting to spin up like, and you're kind of trotting along. It seems to have been holding this action. It tries to release a defensive charge, like you see this thing is like was ready to like take on whoever was there. This might be the same thing that knocked out BB. You're going to get hit with a thunder wave. The nice thing about thunder wave is if you fail your saving throw, it pushes you away a little bit, which is so much fun. All right,
You fall off if you got
The
pushed
DM.
away.
it's possible.
If you get like a nat 1, it'll fall off and have to restart.
If I
Okay.
get a nat 1, I can just re-roll.
Oh, with lucky, that's
Yes.
right, that's right. I don't
That
know.
too,
that.
The one time I got 2, I was like, just give me a 1. Just let it off.
Okay, so you'll take half of this damage. Let me look up thunder wave. So give me a moment. I did not have thunder wave ready. My fault. Did I still have Wi-Fi on? Yes, I do. Oh, I misspelled it and it still knew what I wanted. Thank you, Google. Let's take a look at thunder wave. This is a fun one. Yep. So it's a 15-foot cube that it sort of directs at you, whatever's down there. It's a Constitution saving throw.
That's right.
You can tell by your expression that's not your best.
I was like, yeah, it's not my best, but yeah,
Only
it's not
or
bad.
dexterity saving throw, but no.
Yeah,
What's the advantage or disadvantage on that one?
it's a +2.
Oh, it's not too bad.
I got a 7.
A 7. No,
Wow, we're
that is
having
not.
such bad rolls.
That is not good enough.
Oh my
After
god.
such a good run.
So you
Maybe
take
last
all
weeks.
of the following damage: 7 plus 3, 10 damage. 2d8.
I'm at 6.
Boom! You also are pushed 10 feet away, so you're just getting in there. It knocks you back towards the beam that you're on. So let's do a dexterity saving throw. This is where you try to like keep your feet.
Oh, okay, that's a 26.
Ooh, okay, yes.
Oh,
Great,
God.
you land. Now, very good, congratulations, by the way. That really would have hurt, because you would have fallen 40 feet. You would have had a chance to like grab on, like if you had failed, sometimes you can get another chance to grab and lose a turn. You know, you'd be really in a bad position, but at least you'd be grabbed on. But if that didn't work, you would have fallen 20 feet. That's 2d6 of damage. That would have been bad. But that didn't happen. You stagger back, you're balancing on that beam. Now, normally I'd say this is over because your whole move was down there, but remember how well you rolled to get in there? You rolled so well to get in there that you basically moved very efficiently. You, if you dare, can run right back in, good soldier that you are. So you're staggered back. It's no longer charged up. You think that it's sort of expended, something's holding back, but it still is glowing and it's got, you know, and you've still got, it looks dangerous. But you know, if you want to go for the heroism, you can get right back in there.
I'll go straight back in.
You go right back in there, okay. So that was all just your move, right? That was you moving, getting blown back, and then continuing to move. Now you can take an action. All right.
Okay.
The action, there's a couple ways to go at it, right? This is a complicated system, right? So it's basically an investigation, intelligence check, and if you know investigation, you could use investigation for this, to basically try to figure out how to shut it down. BB is frothing them out and looks like he's dying. Maybe if he were healed, he would know how to shut it down, because, you know, if he's been zapped once, maybe he'd be able to wake up enough. I'm not sure if you have a way to, well, you have a healing potion, as a matter of fact. However, you spending a healing potion on BB and then hoping that he can turn it off, or, because that's an action for
He
you.
was freaking out about turning it off, so I'm not sure if he was like, I'm trying to turn it off, or he's like, I'm actually gonna turn it off. But
Yeah,
it's
I
too
mean,
late.
you knew that, I mean, you won them over so much that he was actually singing your praises by the end. So you won so definitively that you don't really have any doubt that he's faking it. But yeah, he did say, I can't turn it off, I can't turn it off. But, you know, that was only a few seconds before this defensive thing knocked him out. Maybe with another action, maybe you just roll low, you know? So it's your choice. You can give him the healing potion, or you can do it yourself to try to shut it down.
What do you think, guys?
How good is your investigation?
Yeah, intelligence and investigation.
Investigation's only a +1. Yeah.
Dice
intelligence.
have not been. I mean, it's time for the dice.
Yeah, it's
to
time for
be
the dice to be sweet. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, these
Famous
things-
last
this is
episode.
gambling. This is gambling. You know, you don't have the biggest plus on it, but you know the dice can still be kind, and you'll do fine.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hopefully. So I'm going to give him the healing potion.
All right. So you use your action to pour the healing potion down his throat.
And do I get the chance to talk to him?
Sure. It's a free action. Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead. Yeah, you won't be able to persuade him differently, but at least you can tell him what's going on. Like, I need you to do something. That's easy enough.
So like, as he's like coming back to consciousness,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, turn the machine off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
All right. So
Shake
cross
right
off that
now.
healing potion.
Yeah.
BB survived. BB is alive. Great. Yeah, once you took a really close look, you think that he was probably like on the verge of death saving throws. So you think that this also probably saved his life as well. He didn't look like he was doing so well.
Ooh, that's gonna be
So
very
Just
good
to
for when we're
mention, the
trying
other
to
group
have allies.
let BB
Oh, we just
Seriously?
saved the leader's life. So
You can roll on behalf of BB, so luckily his initiative is like, yeah, okay, where's my wig? Where's my wig? He starts holding it. It's like, no, you're being distracted. So I can't concentrate on my wig. Okay, so he gets up, despite looking very flustered at not finding it, and starts trying to figure it out. You used your action to pour that down, but normally you'd be able to use your action to aid and give him advantage, but you are now rolling on behalf of BB. Luckily, he's very familiar with this machinery, and he's got advantage.
Oh, so you roll twice.
So you roll twice and take the higher, or roll 2 dice. It's always fun to roll 2 dice at the same time, if you possibly can.
Yeah.
And take the higher of the 2. Can he figure it out?
Oh, 14.
14.
So I'll go
the higher one's a 14? Yeah. Yeah, and then with his intelligence bonus, that's plenty. He figures out how to shut the machine down.
Yes,
I think the mechanical mill was probably the hardest.
The remaining
honestly,
machine.
phase so far.
That's
I got up
right.
there so fast, but I freaked out when I did damage. I was like, oh,
The remaining
God.
machine powers down.
Does the mech power down or not?
The mech, these arms come down like, basically security alarm goes off, like, mech out of control, sort of like clacks, and these arms come down, like pick up the mech and like lift her off the ground, and she's sort of thrashing, but sort of tie her up so she's out of the picture as well, and alive. So yeah, she's still trying to get the shard, get the shard, get the shard.
She supposedly had like some sort of what were once elegant or special robes. So I feel like
I sort of thought maybe if we.
Yeah.
she
wants
may be
hero
crazy,
shards, right?
but
They have that
you know.
extra shard. Maybe if we gave it to her, she'd be more interested in telling us about something. Or if we,
All
if we
right,
gave her
Again,
neck
cool.
and
the
hide
other
forever.
group killed her.
All right,
I
good
think it
job,
was a
everybody.
wolf.
who knows? knows,
A
maybe one
dwarf
day we
was
can be
just
like,
like-
here's your princess, here's your
just
princess back.
chopped off her head.
Oh my god.
And then I was like,
Right.
How many
what?
rounds did they go through to be able to wear her down that much?
Oh, it was just as long. Like it was.
I'm
Just
so
better- just
surprised.
better
nobody
rolls?
died.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Yeah, oh my
I was
god.
positioning myself
That
so I
was
could
so
shove a
close.
berry in somebody's mouth.
I'm so grateful there'll be a long rest at the end of this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
what is there?
I
Oh,
feel
Right.
like
Will
we're
we
just
use
Oh,
that?
I'm on a chain of battles.
Yeah, we will
That
be
wouldn't-
useless
that
as
wouldn't occur.
in anything that's
I feel
any
like
sort of
we're
fighting
gonna-
after this.
have a long rest.
That was such a good
Like-
choice to give me the healing potion.
Yeah, in the end.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to use it on
It
you.
did, yeah, it
No.
didn't work out how you imagined it, but it
Because
worked
I was
out well.
thinking, oh, there's I think there's a.
I realised
I bet you were
after we
thinking when
chose
he
who was
gave
going
us
to
the
do the
healing
climbing
potion,
that I can
oh,
change into a
okay.
spider.
Oh.
And I could have just spied. I didn't think of that at the time.
Wait, what did you have?
I'm a druid, so I can wild shape or into a creature, and I can do it into a spider.
Never tell the party things like this.
We will throw you down. Tie him like,
Hey.
as your punishment, you don't get to buy anything cool now.
Yeah, next time we come up against something, we're like, go on.
Yeah, I'll go do some climbing.
All right, congratulations again. So, you were victorious in this battle, and you also are allied with the kobolds. Torg seems to have retreated. So, like, you shut down the only source of power that, his ghostly power can only work in conjunction with this weird power that you've been close to, and at this machine is crackling with an energy that kind of makes you feel really sick. It's sort of like the sort of woozy feeling. It's sort of like the feeling that you look at when you look at someone's chaos shard, like that weird sort of disorientation feeling that you get, like you're not sure how far away it is. Like the whole machine is that way. Like it seems like like the machine is really huge and far away, or like or it's really tiny and up against your face. Like it's just disorienting. It just makes you feel kind of queasy, and just it makes you feel kind of confused. Like, say, whose side am I on? Like, are those my friends or my enemies down there? Like this weird feeling you've got. So you might want to sort of tiptoe away from that, because it seems to be powering down over time, but just before it got shut off, you just got this sick sort of feeling. Later on, when you check out the silver crack over here, there is a grating over it that has a fist-sized chaos shard in it, and it also gives that same sort of queasy feeling if you get quite close to it. Like it feels like there's an energy emanating from it. With investigation, at some point you could figure out the nature of it, or maybe it'll just come out. But yeah, it seems like anything I can do with chaos shards makes you feel queasy. You don't see a chaos shard inside this machine, but you're just sort of guessing like this machine might be powered by some sort of other chaos shard energy. Maybe there's a big chaos shard in there, is your best guess. All right, however, the machine shop is still functional. These machines have been damaged, but they can repair themselves. So you'll think eventually, and this is, you can use your session stamps, we'll do that later on. If you come early, you can have the kobolds make something special. If you come early to a session like we did earlier today, you can actually use your session stamps to have, sort of outside of game things happen. Do investigations, like those investigations that you enjoyed last time. You can do extra investigations if you come early. All you have to do is spend those session stamps. That's how we limit that sort of thing. So you have a functional machine shop and very friendly kobold allies. I'm going to post a link that says how you can buy and sell to the kobolds. Just keep in mind the kobolds aren't going to buy junk. The only thing they're going to buy is something that a dragon would like to have. That's all they care about. They like coins, they like gems, and artwork probably, especially if it's nice artwork. That's an option. Okay, let's do full XP based on these monsters. So I'm going to add these up. Now this is not your share, we'll do some math to figure it out. This is the way you actually do XP in D&D for a full battle. These 6 things, this is a bit of a DM note, and those are your future DMs. I do a lot of reskinning in D&D, so I'll take something that has a stat block. I only use monsters from the monster manual. I want to model that you don't need anything more than the monster manual and the player's handbook to be a DM. You don't, even though yes, I probably could have bought a book, that has something exactly made to order. But if you look, one of these things are doing, they're casting spells at a distance, they're kind of delicate. There's a monster called an acolyte. It's a 1/4, it's called CR 1/4. They're quite light, so you have to stack up quite a few of them to be a danger. I simply used the stats of the acolyte and I skinned it. I said it just looks like a machine, but it does the same thing that a human acolyte spellcaster would. It's just a cheat that you can do really easily in DMing. Again, I didn't have to, so that way the monster manual, there aren't heaps of monsters to choose from, so I do a lot of reskinning. This mech over here, there's something called a pentadrone, which is actually CR2. It takes 6 characters normally. For an easy fight, it takes all 6 characters against a CR2, because you're all level 2, that's about the way it works out, to have a fairly easy fight. But this fight was a little bit harder, right? I've made this. I deliberately ahead of time gave myself more points because I know what's ahead and I sort of know what pace you should be on, and some other things. So this was quite a hard fight that you prevailed at, and that means you get more XP. So I'm going to add up. The acolytes are worth 50 XP each, so that is 300 points. This is not your share. We'll split them up later. We'll split up evenly. The pentadrone at CR2 is 450 points. We add those up. That's 750 points total, divided by 6. Somebody can just calculate that.
125.
Oh,
Very good. You each get 125 XP for that fight.
So good.
Now you see why it's so much more, right?
that's level
It took
3.
maybe about the same amount of time as an investigation, but your lives are on the line. If you had died, you would have lost XP. Also, this is not the end. You know, the events are going to keep going. As I warned you, you might not be able to get a long rest before your next fight. So this also got you a little bit closer to death if the next fight, if you've expended yourself too much here. So this is not over. And that's where the next question comes in, which is what you do next. Let me look at my notes.
next battle will take like one hit
Ah.
and then
Memento loot.
Like just
boom, boom, no,
dominoes
we're
rolled
done.
in.
We're done.
BB has a silver visor. So it is.
That's why I recognized you
it
said
is-
he had.
It looks good. Yeah, he has burned eyes. This thing looks like it would fit over his eyes. Now he's grateful. He also was unconscious for a while. He's kind of out of it. So you're kind of stealing it from him, but also maybe for his own good. You might take it away, or you can say like, no, he should have it.
We could do the.
He's the boss. He's obviously using this visor. You know, is he just an addict and this is getting in the way of him working, or is it an essential part of his working? You, since you're up there, can decide. I'm just going to pretend like the Thunderwave knocked it away and sort of steal it, and then decide who to share it with. You know, it's not necessarily yours. Maybe the party rolls for it. You might have first dibs. You work out for yourself who gets to keep the silver visor, or you can leave it there because you think that it's an important part of his thing, of his working method.
We could get his wig back to him.
Maybe he'll forget it.
Let's distract him
Somebody
with it.
stomps out his wig and stuff's still burning.
I'm going to say that I take it,
Okay.
but I'm definitely in the thoughts of, you know, I could trade it back to him.
Okay.
Like,
Ah,
I found
steal
your vi-
deal.
I
That's
found
right.
your
Yeah,
visor.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
trying to
See,
wig.
see what he's like without
And
the
I've
visor.
decided
See what it
that
does. Okay.
He's of no use to me.
Okay. Yes. All right. Now, the fair thing to do is, even though I know that some people play as like, oh, finders keepers. Generally, it's a good team thing to say like, look, you can all decide, look, you deserve it, you can keep the visor, or it's like, no, actually, I think we should roll dice to see who gets the visor. Anybody here want to say that you have a right to the visor? Okay, so raise your hand if you want to contest for the visor. Okay, all right. So
You're all up on, like, I'm all up on the tower, so I'm like,
well, I'm
Kill
encouraging.
again.
I'm encouraging
you
team
all gonna
play.
die. Could they just I'll just fit the
I'm encouraging team play.
And you still
And this is a
I'm
weird
the
thing.
bad person.
This is usually say like, well, you are actually hidden, so dead to rights you could hide and they would never know. But there's something that's been happening for the last few sessions that is now very clear, and it has something to do with like since he got very queasy. When he felt queasy next to that chaos shard, you all sort of had a very sort of dim, sort of almost like a view through his eyes. Like you all felt kind of a sympathetic queasiness. In a way, you kind of know what he's up to. It's like your minds are kind of linked together
Bonded
through some.
together now.
So actually, there's an explanation for it, but you'll have to find out what
so
it is.
short.
Yeah. so you know, and you all know that he has the visor. So it's also very hard to hide the fact that you got the visor because they have a sense of what's happening up there. But we can do it a couple ways. Again, I think the fair thing to keep the team unified is that it's just a fair roll off. I might say that you get a +2, because I want to respect that you're a rogue and maybe you have a little advantage and you can maybe do a stronger case for it. But otherwise, just luck, right? So let's say that he has a +2 on his roll, but whoever gets the high roll gets the visor. Is that acceptable to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just pure
I
luck.
don't
You're
want
actually,
it, but
you're actually-
I'm fighting for it. So.
you're actually getting out your dice.
9.
5.
18.
Woo! You got it. All right.
Yes.
Pretty,
And he's standing up there and then
It's kind of looking like I sold that.
Okay, yeah. So later on, he was like, "Hey, where is it? Where's my visor? Anyway, they see it's like a silver thing. I need it. It's really important for my work." But yeah, you're saying, "No, I'm not going to give it back to you." So you can figure out later whether to give it back to him or trade it back. That is some memento loot. Very good.
Very. So many advantages against him.
What?
You also just got some basic treasure. So as it is, the kobolds aren't stingy, let's just say. They don't like to give treasure away, and it's very important they have it for, guess what? The dragon, all with like rolling eyes. But any encounter that you have, there's an opportunity to get some things. And they say, well, the dragon doesn't like bent coins. So here you can bend them back. So you're getting some of the leftover bent coins. They're too ugly to give to a dragon. Let me
I'll
look
take
that
the
up.
ugly coins.
Yeah, exactly. They're still good. When you melt them down, they're worth the same. You know that they're going to be taken for the same value to any normal vendor. All right, let's look that up. These are silver coins. These are not super rich. It's the silver coins that are easily bent. All right, you each get 8 silver coins as a result.
8 silver coins. Oh.
You start to go, wow, that hoard was huge. But remember, hoards are huge. These little bits of combat give you little bits of treasure. This is, again, per the DMG. I've done a modification of what the DMG gives out. So it's approximately right for what the DMG advises. Now, choosing the next thing. We've got 7 minutes left, so I have time to describe it again. If you have to leave spot on at 9, feel free. But chances are you'll be able to at least listen and vote before we go. Let's summarize what we learned real briefly. So you know that these chaos shards are sources of power, right? You think that the chaos, so one of the questions was, what are the chaos shards good for? Seems like the kobolds are using chaos shards in some way to power this machinery. You know how badly Torg hates the fact that these things are being ripened. You know that that there's a real enmity between what the Reds want to use these things for and what the kobolds want to use these things for. So that's something else you learned. Anything else that you learned here that helped answer your question? Though there's one more room to explore.
Oh, could we ask the kobold, the female kobold?
Well, let's not take new actions. Let's just we only have a minute.
Yeah,
so
it's
just summarize what you've already
I've got it in notes to
Awesome.
basically talk to BB and
Sure.
ask.
But just by
and
recap,
ask
what
that
else did we
kobold.
learn during this session that you think is worth?
There's another person to talk to. in
Yes,
the crack.
chop. Yeah, so you know the chops through the crack, and I'll describe that when we talk about voting for
What's
next.
that to the crack?
We learned
Yes,
that
yes,
they've
I'll describe that
obviously-
in a moment.
The Dragonborn in this thing is obviously captive or something
Yeah.
that's
Very interested in the shards.
yeah,
Yes.
and he's almost like addicted.
Yeah, she has a madness, like
Yes.
the obsession to get the shards, led her to tear through. Yeah, this is the same voice you heard screaming before when you first came by when you were captive. Like, I'll get the shard, I'll get the shard. It was her voice. You recognize now, so you think that she's been here for a while.
Yeah, I'm really curious about her because she's the black dragonborn.
That's right. It
and
might be
they're
related to the Black
worshipping
Dragon
her,
out of
and
here.
they're, like,
Exactly.
giving it to
That's
her
right. So how does that
understand.
go? Exactly. Yeah. Might not be coincidental. Is there anything learned during the RP battle, like some things that are especially notable? The kobolds revealed some things about their operation and stuff like that.
They were selling to the Knolls. I didn't know that.
Okay, that was a new thing as well.
And they're also buying from the goblins.
Right. Right. Very good. Yep. Buying machine parts from the goblins when they drop off. That explain the exchange of money. Yeah, but they're selling these mechs, and they gesture towards this mech. They call her Havilar, by the way, or short. I think she at some point when you talk to her, because I'm going to let the name slip. When you talk to her, some way like, "Hey, what's your name?" Because she's kind of given up. She's like sort of spent, She knows she can't get the shard. She seems kind of going into a depression. If one of you says like, "Hey, what's your name?" and she sort of mutters to herself, Havilar. So her name's Havilar. So yeah, you learned that you could learn more about Havilar's craving. I forget what my point was. The Knolls. Yeah. So people like Havilar are put into these mechs, and these mechs with the people in them are apparently being sold to the Knolls, and they're talking about mining.
Who are the
shards.
Knolls again?
Knolls, we'll do a roll later on. Everybody quickly roll either history or nature.
Ooh, I got this 2 in history.
Well, 18.
Yeah.
7. Oh my
Okay.
god.
18 is good.
It's like a third 5
19.
Woo! All right.
5.
All good.
17.
Okay, good. I'm not only going to tell you a little bit about Knolls real quick, but just even a little bit about sort of what the weak points are. So you can keep this in mind. Whoops! Don't spell with an S. Knolls are humanoid dog creatures. They have dog heads on humanoid bodies. Again, you can beat nice Knolls, I'm sure, but pretty much all the stories you've heard about Knolls are them being absolutely rampaging, slavering like wild dogs. So they are like wild, out of control dogs.
What dog heads on human
They've done a
bodies?
lot of nasty things. They're of a demonic origin, so they trace back to the demon lord Yinogu, who basically took some hyenas and crossed them up with humans to turn these first Knolls. So they're these horrible creations of a demon.
What's the demon?
Yinogu.
Is that
Yeenoghu. Yeenoghu. Demon Lord Yinogu. created these things. Those of you who rolled well know this thing. You do is they're just like nomadic destroyers. They eat, they destroy. There's very few stories of them being rational or friendly. Thirsty for blood is one way they're described. So, you know that the gnolls are buying the stuff. That's some stuff we learned. Last minute is what your choices are. There's really two simple choices. They say, if you really want to learn, who knows everything, like you want to know all about the shards, you want to know about ripening shards, talk to Jop. So you can go deeper. Just like in the red dungeon, you decide to go deeper to get to the end of it. You get the sense that there's maybe one more room, that's Jop's room. She is the boss. BB is like the foreman of the factory, and that's fine. But Jop is the brains behind the operation. However, she's behind this weird silver crack. You're not sure how to get through. They seem to think that you know how to get through, but if you pick this, that's part of the adventure, is figuring out. It's like they're pointing out like it's a doorway, but it's like a giant keyhole. It's sort of like it's a little crooked and about this wide and goes like deep, like 10 feet into the rock. Like there's no way to squeeze into that. If you turn into a spider, you might be able to, but you'd be in there all alone. How do you all get in there is the question. So, but part of the adventure will probably reveal that. So, choice one is the continuing silver path, the silver visor wearers and all that stuff. She must know a lot about that, is continue down the silver path. That's choice number one. Choice number two is the thing that barely lost last time. It's like, let's put a pin in this and let's go out and talk to the goblins. Or follow the goblin trail. Either way, don't choose it based on whether you think you're going to get a long rest or not, right? Because good to my word, I wouldn't count on getting a long rest between this and your next little adventure. That's the way this goes. So if the risk seems about equal on both sides, what interests you the most? Finish what you started here, or go to the goblins. Discuss amongst yourselves.
Third proposition.
Oh yes.
Find a way.
We
to the
go
next,
find a village and
into
get a
the
long
little
rest.
Run away.
Run
to the
away.
jungle to meet with Jop.
Is she
honestly,
purple?
I
She's
want
like the
to.
What do you got?
boss. Head boss.
Okay,
Yeah.
HP wise.
Find out all about
I've got like, what was it?
And what's the other one?
6?
Right.
We may have a cleric next time.
goblins and
Yeah.
the green path.
But
We may not, but we
how
may.
many spell slots do you got now?
Being adventurers, knowing these villages
One.
being attacked, I'm not sure I'm going to give you an option to chicken out and take a long rest.
Okay.
That's not an exciting adventure.
Right.
I think
Two.
I'm always of the feeling once you started something,
Yeah.
you kind of got to
And
finish it
also,
off.
we've
100%
got.
completionist.
Feels yeah.
You guys-
I've got
I
a
think-
second chaos shard now, like so there could be some negotiation.
Oh, you got the one on the
power or
necklace, don't
something.
you?
I've
You've
actually
got
still got the
ripening
chaos
one
shard
in
as
there.
well.
Yeah.
In my pouch. I just gave Tor one. And I went, oh shit.
Ah, all right. Yeah, you did a very cunning thing. You basically called their bluff. Said, no, we're not going to give you the shards. But then they discussed them with us. So like, oh, let's just give them one. Let's give them one on the necklace anyway. So you did a good negotiation. So you got more shards than usual. Okay, get deeper. That's what you're choosing. Yep. Okay, great.
Okay.
But we do have an honored objection. It's like, I for one would rather. But I'm not sure I'm going to give you the option to just take a nice relaxing
HP,
break.
So 6, 11.
If we can
I want 6.
take a minute or so,
Yeah.
then
I think we can
I
take
can
a
give
sh-
some berries out to people.
I think
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
take a
You'll
short
almost
rest.
always be able to do a short rest
We know what
before.
HP
We'll definitely have to do a shop.
Yeah, and remember, you'll be able to shop. You could, if you want to spend, you can buy a healing potion. If you want to be conservative, you'll be able to spend your hit dice. Remember, so on your short rest next time,
Yeah.
many options. And remember, I have that link. So if you have an RSVP to the event, make sure you do, because I'll send a link on how shopping works, the kind of things you can buy and sell.
So that'll be on the meetup.
Yeah, I'll be on Meetup. Yeah.
Yep.
Do keep in mind the pub meetup on Sunday. Speaking of Meetup, it's in meetup.com this Sunday from 2 to 4. Exchange secrets with the other shard, and you might decide like, oh, okay, I do want to cross over, because like I said, I'm going to start really trying to lean on people to balance out the two things. So
If you
you'll meet some
really want to
people
know,
that might help you
the
decide that.
silver path, they would have finished it if it's only one more room. I'm assuming. I would assume.
I would stop over
This
by
is
the
why you
car.
go to the pub to find out stuff like this. I want you to give each other spoilers. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm doing donations as usual. You can do it on Patreon. You in Streamland can also look at Patreon, where I have a lot of videos. I do commentary. I walk through my materials. Those who donate, I'll eventually give those materials away, but even right away, I do videos where I show what's on my screen as a DM and all that. And it wouldn't be too spoilery if you saw, but that's fine. I'm not expecting you to watch those videos. But your donations are appreciated. It's $6 a head, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm very happy to cover you. If you don't have much money, don't worry about it. Okay, thank you very much. You hang out. I'm going to go to the pub briefly, maybe for a real quick one, but